All right, so we will call the meeting to order. Today's agenda, Kendra's trying to pull an April Fool's joke on us.
I changed it.
Oh. Did we get a new
Ha,
agenda
ha, ha.
today?
Huh?
Did we get a new agenda today?
Yeah,
I think
it's,
so.
yeah. Yes.
Just change
Did you
it.
get, it's in the package that Kendra gave us.
Apparently I didn't hit save.
It's April 6th. It's 7:11 p.m. And we're being filmed tonight by Chat TV, or is it just Chat?
Either or.
Chat TV. There we go. So on the agenda tonight we have mail, reserve fund transfers, approval of meeting minutes, holds left on budget lines 15, 25, 31, 75, 78, 115, 119, 1.5 wage increase discussion, update the total deficit number, capital plan discussion, consideration of articles, discussion of FY15-16 budgets, public participation, and discussion of upcoming meeting dates and calendar. So on the mail side, we have a reserve fund transfer and no other mail, correct?
No, I gave you an email from Brian. But, I mean, that can go with the line item.
Is that the one that we have on hold? Okay. So I received a message tonight that our vocational number is increasing to a total of 159,000 because another student applied.
How much of an increase is that?
27,000 over what we have.
One student, 27,000?
Yeah.
It's line item 75.
Increasing by 27?
Yeah, so the total will be 159,000. So Sandy's updated
159?
159,000. So Sandy's updated spreadsheet that she had to hand us tonight had us in the positive of $10,672, and now we are in a negative of $16,327. So we have to be level tonight.
So close, but yet so far.
Yeah, so far away. So I was also told that vocational students do not get accepted into the program until June. So even if we updated the numbers, we would still be updating it. We couldn't update it until after town meeting at that point in time. So we have to fund the number of students that we have in the line.
Whether or not we use the total budget.
Right.
Okay.
So that's how many students we have to list. So line 70,
Do we have a new,
line 75.
do you have a new spreadsheet or are we
Yep.
working?
That's a good spreadsheet, right? So line 75 is being updated to a total of 159,000. You can keep the front sheet on update on that too.
Did you say
Sorry.
175?
75.
Oh. And what's the number here?
Just back from New York. All right, so Stu can't make tonight.
159.
You said that we were going to have, we were originally scheduled for a surplus, but now we have a
Deficit, so on the front page,
How much?
Sandy's, it's 16,327.59. Sorry, 57 cents, yeah. 16,327.57.
Well, that's close.
So we need to have a level budget tonight for the prep.
Right. So did everything get voted on?
So, no, so we have holds left on line 15, line 25, line 31, line 75, 78, 115, and 119.
get this,
What numbers are in there for those lines that we didn't vote?
So
Kendra?
those are the warrant articles, yeah.
Yeah.
so we have to update that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, okay.
So why don't we just start with line 15?
Oh, you want to do your reserve fund transfer first?
Is there somebody here to speak to it?
I'll speak to it.
Who? Okay, okay, we'll do that first.
Before we get,
Sure,
I don't mean to tell you what to do, just.
that's
I wanted
okay.
to-
Yep.
I didn't want it to go by the wayside.
Okay.
this week.
Okay, so we have a reserve fund transfer. Oh,
Mhm.
the amount requested is $15,000. It's to veterans benefits. The present amount and set appropriation
Get out of your way.
Oh, no, okay, no, fine.
is $3,088.78. The reason for the expenditure, there have been additional veterans who have qualified for benefits than were anticipated at budget time last year. The veterans' benefits went from $10,471.21 in July to $15,682.05 in April. We will use this money for the May benefits, which are due May 1st, and put an article on the special town meeting for the June benefits.
Okay, and just an update, the April has risen again because you got one more veteran added. It is now $16,441, $16,441.72. So that's why the correction was made, and Will Corey and myself have both initialed it. We were going to ask for 12,000, but I've changed it to 15 so that we can get through May. And then we will, like as stated, we do have an article on the special town meeting.
Okay. So we've talked about this previously, we knew this was coming, we just didn't know it was gonna be for 15,000.
I would move that we approve the reserve fund transfer in the amount of $15,000 for veterans benefits.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the only question I have is what is the total of the reserve fund?
$60,225.
$60,225.
$25.
And have we got anybody on notice with us that stuff's coming up?
The only thing we know about is electricity possibly.
We believe that most of the electricity accounts are going to be fine through April.
Okay,
We do have an article on the special town meeting within the annual to cover the electricity accounts through the end of the year.
okay. So then, unless you got anything else,
Other than that, that's the only,
item that we're
Item
talking
that I
about
had.
long term, right? Okay. Any further discussion?
So just a question, that will, because we got more veterans on, that will increase money we get from the state for the benefits, correct?
Right, we get a 75% reimbursement, but it's a full year after we pay out the benefits before we get the reimbursement. They pay on a quarterly basis.
Okay. And the 190 number for veterans benefits still
Still
looks,
holding it there,
even though we were at 16?
yeah.
Okay,
It does fluctuate. They come on and off as the, you know,
okay. Okay, any further questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, aye?
Okay.
Okay. Unanimous. Today is April 6th. One, two, three, four, 5. I'll pass them back. All right, let's let people sign that.
Find my desk the other day, to sit down at the computer, and one of the kids had shrunk the chair all the way down, and I went, oh. So tell me the lines that are on hold again. so I can-
15.
Oh, they're right here. Oh, okay, very nice.
So, Julie, can I ask a question to Sandy? Sandy, has the state done anything about updating our figures for state aid? I know that, like the governor said that they were sending back a lot more than what we're using. It's a difference of like about $30,000. We decided to level fund. Have you heard anything about whether or not they're going to?
We haven't heard anything from the Senate yet, so
We haven't heard anything from the House.
yeah, of the House, so we don't know, Peg. There's been nothing, Charlie, we haven't heard anything from the state, from the Senate or the House
Zero.
on state aid, so. And,
I know that the state,
Well, we're running a deficit, you know, I'm kind of like looking at whether or not we should accept the governor's figures or whether we should still level fund. Because we always, as you know, Sandy, we always,
we're conservative.
yes, yeah.
But
we
the
always
thing,
lowball it.
Peg, I know that the state revenue numbers that are coming in so far are still below what they had used for their estimates for the
I
year
know,
we're
but
now.
shouldn't we accept the governor's word on that instead of our second guessing the governor?
Well, it's still gonna be math. I mean, the legislature, given the supermajority that the Democrats have, and I know that there's certainly not, there's no indication they're voting to raise taxes at all. So whatever, I mean, certainly I wouldn't do anything more than the governor's numbers, but I'd rather in April be more conservative. And if we find out during the next 5 weeks that we can loosen the belt a little bit, and it won't be one way or the other, then it's a lot easier going to town meeting with a revised budget that we have a little bit more money to spend with, and come May, say, sorry, you know, and cut.
I know, but I would hate to cut a budget that I would not have to cut.
Okay,
You know, I would
16,000.
hate to cut unnecessarily.
I understand. I mean, I'm gonna be talking with you about the data processing budget, and, you know,
And plus, you know,
Well, while
our
we're up,
estimated receipts are also pretty conservative because we could use another 13,000 there.
the problem is that in all the categories except motor vehicle, we're down or even.
We'll
And
see.
all right, well, so why don't we talk about data processing, Charlie?
okay.
Pardon?
We're gonna talk about line 15, data processing.
Okay.
This is what I have,
Can we take one, pass it down?
well, take one pass it down, but I'm gonna do. This budget includes, as you can see, $40,000 for a person because the school, given what financial constraints they were under, declined to fund half a person.
They did?
Correct, they did not put any money in the budget for an IT person.
Okay.
When they were talking with you all and they worked out whatever number, I think it was 2.5% or whatever number they worked out for their budget for the regular session, then that's one of the things that got knocked out. If we got a full-time person, my intent would still be for that person to be used by the school also, but then I get 100% dibs. In essence, I'm running that person. The alternative to setting aside, if we don't have a person, I don't know what the school's gonna do. I mean, I can't worry about them.
Yep.
However, if we don't have a person, what I would do is, it's a 90, I think, did I put it at 90 now? I think we put it, I bump it back down to the 70. So the 20 of the 40 would disappear and the other 20 would be used for the outside service instead of 5,000 for the outside service. The outside service would be bringing people in if whoever we had as a full-time employee couldn't handle whatever the situation was, or they were on vacation or something like that. Normally that runs about $160 an hour. I try obviously not to use that in large increments, since I could very quickly use all that money up. But if we didn't have a full-time person, I'd drop the budget by 20, and the other 20 would be put into outside service. We've run as well as we can. I think the biggest problem, in a sense, almost the biggest challenge isn't even the $160. It's the return. It's response time. It can end up being days between me making a call and getting somebody either online or in person to be here. In the meantime, whoever has a problem is still having a problem, and if I'm not able to help them out either because I've got 10 other things to worry about, or I'm not competent to help them out, then they're waiting. I understand we're under fiscal constraints. We've been talking about this since January, because if we had been talking about this in December, it would have been fine. We probably could have fit this in. And now it's very, very difficult. And I'm the first, I have to wear both my hats. I have to wear my DP hat that says we need this person. And I have to wear my town administrator hat that says we don't have any money to do it.
So approximately how many hours of employee time was lost over the summer because of the...
I don't know, in some cases, we're still dealing with it, in the sense of, I know the selectman's office, Pam McSherry, is still, when she's running into situations, in essence, she's looking for a file from a year ago and doesn't have it, then she has to do a recreation. And I know this person here,
I'm still running into it. I went looking all over the place for a wage worksheet that I had worked out, that I had spent hours on, and it was gone because I did it between March and July.
So approximately, if you were gonna guess, just...
my guess is a few hundred hours. Because obviously a lot of documents lost, they weren't needed. It says they needed to be done when they were done, but no one's gone back looking for them. Or people had saved versions one way or the other, they had sent it as an attachment to an email or something like that, so that there was a version floating around. But,
So the way you have this position listed now,
yep.
it's approximately 38 hours a week.
Well,
If you pay them
I
20
think it would end up being 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. I think we put it in, I think the wage and personnel ended up doing it as a grade 7, so that the wage rate started just below $19. And that works out to just about 40,000.
Okay, so does it make sense to make the position a part-time, a 20-hour?
If we can get someone to do that, sure.
Because then you spend $20,000 on the first year. You still have the 5 in there for the outside help, but you're at 70 instead of 90, and it doesn't make the number go down another.
Right, no, I understand what you're saying, yeah. We can see what's out there. I mean, I'll have a month, I'll have a month and a half to put it out and see if we can get somebody to come in willing to do it for that rate. If they are, then that's great.
I have a question when Charlie comes back.
Okay.
I don't know, I can ask it again, but I don't know if did you ever look into like doing a co-op or an internship with the college or with Silver Lake?
for an IT person? Is that possible?
So I know we looked into it with Silver Lake, and that was the splitting. That was, so the person that they have in mind basically is,
I think she's talking about
I'm
something
I'm
else.
talking about a student.
I think the problem with that is that we don't have somebody that's a full-time supervisor for the position.
But if we're talking about going part-time,
Yeah, let's,
I think it's worth looking
I
at.
think
just
it's,
don't
I think
know
it's a
that.
good idea. But we need, so the issue that we have,
Well, particularly with the quality.
that's what I'm saying, Bridgewater State, if they have like an IT program where they offer up co-ops or internships. I know with my company, you know, each team has a co-op and a summer intern, that we don't pay them. The intern we don't pay, the co-op gets, you know, a little bit of money, but they get school credits too. And they come every day and, you know, they work and we give them stuff to do. We don't have to pay a full-time person.
that's a good idea if we can get,
I didn't know if that was an option, something that, you know.
it's a
possibly
good
you
thing to
looked
put
into.
down to ask when he comes back in. Sandy, do you know approximately what the school was paying? Or what the town was paying that person that was working for the
Steve
school?
Smart?
Yeah,
He was paying $10 an hour, but there were extenuating
Right.
circumstances. He couldn't make
Right.
over a certain amount of money, and that's why he was willing to work for that rate. I don't think you'll find most
no,
people
I
would
don't,
be willing to work for that rate.
I know when I did my co-op, my first year was $21.75 an hour, and that was 2001, so. But there's no wage growth since then, probably.
We've had a recession going.
Actually, that was a recession back then, too. That was right after the bottom drop, though.
That actually is pretty good for a co-op. I think we pay our co-ops like $70 an hour.
It was good back then, what can I say?
Gordon,
Yes,
splitting that position was with the elementary school, not with Silver
Yes.
Lake.
right.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned Silver Lake, I didn't know it was.
No.
No, I'm
What's-
just saying if
what's-
Silver Lake had a program, you know, if they have a high school program where they did interns or something. I didn't know about that, but there's also a college on the street. That's what I was bringing up about it.
Yeah, no, I thought, when you were talking about splitting, I thought you had said Silver Lake and it's the elementary school.
Was the elementary school.
Right,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if Steve was Silver Lake or if Steve was the elementary school. or if he was-
Oh.
He's Silver Lake.
He was-
Wow, they stole him right out of But yes. No, he was working over at the elementary
Right.
school when we started using
I,
it.
so after knowing what some of the issues were and knowing what the computer room looks like, I'm not confident that we just want a co-op to handle. I think
I think it would be good to have a
a second
person,
person.
who, even if we bring them on 20 hours a week, someone who would be looking to stay with us. I think we need the continuity in the town hall. We need someone who can look at all of our equipment and recommend upgrades and what should be done when. So it would be nice to have someone who was experienced. I mean, a student is a good idea, and we have gone that route in the past. But I think it would be nice to have someone who maybe was a little more experienced.
But also, I think when we dealt with students before, what we did was on the same basis as we're bringing in the outside people too. We do it as needed. I would think that if we go down this route, if it's a part-time person, Pryor would set it up for them to be in, let's say, 8 to 12 or 9 to 1, or basically a set of regular hours every single day, so that my hope is anybody who does have a problem, they're not going to wait more than, let's say, 24 hours. They'll at least get some of that person to their doorstep and find out what's happening. They may not be able to fix it immediately, but at least someone will respond.
Julianne's question was maybe supplementing with a co-op or an intern student from a local college.
Like Bridgewater State.
Yeah,
down
no, I
Silver
understand what
Lake.
you're saying, yeah. But I'm going to only have so much money available. And as I mentioned, the biggest problem outside of the cost of having the high-priced consulting firms is response time. I want to know that if I make that if someone calls me, needs help, I'm gonna get someone back to them within 24 hours, let's say. And if a student is, one thing, we got summer for several months, students are on vacation more than we are. And I'm not saying that we couldn't do it. I'm saying I need, as a starting point, to have someone here on a regular basis, 5 days a week. I mean,
I think it would be a good second, somebody as a second, but I think we need somebody as a primary contact.
it might be that the main person does have, we bring a student in to do some of the scut work. If we need stuff we wired or, more mundane stuff, and the IT person can direct that college student.
Yeah, I know that Steve last year was going around to all the different computers at the elementary school and basically shutting them down and vacuuming them out.
Right, and we had him do the same thing over here.
So if we changed it to a $20,000 part-time, you would be,
Well, it's better than we've got. Let's put it that way. I don't know how much I can share with the school. I think my first priority is going to be the municipal buildings. If we have a backlog of stuff coming in and that stuff gets done and the school needs some help, certainly I'd be willing to share, but the town buildings would have the first priority.
what's everybody else's feeling on
Well, he's been telling us for 2 years how much he desperately needs some help in the town hall. And I think going with a co-op is really a good idea because sometimes they're very skillful. I can't remember what the name of the young man was that worked with us a while back.
Well, Patrick Cable, but Patrick
right.
Cable, but he has a real job doing real.
No, I know that, but I mean someone of his caliber now.
Yes, it'd be great if we
What
can.
was he? Was he a,
He started in middle school for us, then he went to high school, then he went to Wentworth. Then he graduated from
that?
Wentworth about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, because I can remember when, I can remember seeing kids at Silver Lake that were just playing whizzes, that, they maybe could be able to do something like that.
Right, I'm not.
Except that they would have to have supervision.
I'm not gonna be able to supervise them. Unless they're the person coming in and doing the work, and I say, go see so-and-so in that office, they've got this problem, I'm not gonna be supervising them.
And I think that's the person that you need, is somebody that is in a supervisor, whatever the word is, I can't speak tonight. That reports to Charlie. Not that Charlie knows how to do the IT stuff, but Charlie can direct him to.
Well, what amount of money are you recommending that we put in
Well,
that
if you
line
go
item?
down to part-time, I'd like to have half of the 40, I'd like to get it down to 20 then.
Okay, what's the amount of money you're recommending for that line item?
Then I'd be recommending the $70,760.
Which is different to what do we have listed
Well,
there?
we
But is
have
that the number we
70,000,
have
so it's
in
only
there?
$760 more than what we already have.
Yes.
Line 50.
I mean, if you went down to 70, I'll live with it. I'd probably just not spend 760 on equipment or something like that.
So do we have a motion for a sum of money?
I would move that we appropriate $70,760 as the line item for data processing for fiscal 16.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Further discussion? Anybody? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay, it was unanimous. So we are now,
Can I ask a question?
yes,
Did you revisit the town building expense line?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Did you revisit the town building expense line?
No, I was in Acton for Easter. I didn't do anything between last Wednesday and today.
Well, I wasn't here Wednesday or Monday, so I'm wondering if that
The
line was.
The town, which,
Oh, the
Town
town
building
building
expense.
yeah, you voted that.
So what
Yes,
did you do with
yes.
it?
$30,850 is what we arrived at.
Line 45. Sorry, 43.
So what is?
You're talking
is
about
this
line
the right
item
number?
40?
Yeah, yes, because Sandy
So-
gave us a handout
Yes.
at the last meeting.
Oh, and wait a minute, and the other one was the wage line, right?
What was
Because
that?
see, I was here when he came in and gave us his wonderful presentation,
Yes.
but then there was another line that went up and there was stuff in it that we,
Okay, town buildings custodial, we voted at $164,990 as a result of his
Did we not do
wonderful
that?
presentation.
Yeah, I forgot to change it on the
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Okay,
Sorry.
so that's, so that's a difference
But-
of,
so,
I had,
so we
Yes.
approved his increase in hours? He
was,
requested an increase in hours, remember?
I wasn't at the
Oh.
meeting where he,
Wasn't
Oh my goodness.
Right.
When, yes, he did. You were you
I think it was a total of 3 hours.
He was looking for 3 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No, it was more than 3 hours.
He was taking
No.
from somebody.
He had taken some from somebody and given to someone else, and it was
I
a
think
total
from the
of
person
3
in the
hours.
police
Yes.
department to Brenda.
Right.
What? Police
He
department?
he had
We
has
have a
one
jan-
employee who works in the police station.
Oh, I didn't know.
And he took some hours away from that person, gave them to another custodian, and increased that by 3 hours. So it was a total increase of 3 hours.
Yeah, I remember this conversation now.
Well, I do, but I thought that there was an increase that we approved without realizing it, and then he wanted 3 hours more. Let me just see.
Well, when he finally looked at his hours and everything and talked to Sandy, we approved a budget of $164,990 for,
It was on that sheet. It was like a $700 difference.
for,
That was
What's in it?
Line item
longevity,
42.
right?
Oh, okay.
For the longevity, and that's what we
line
did
item 42.
last Wednesday.
so Sandy, can you just repeat that? What you said?
The $750 was the longevity that we didn't have. I had forgotten to add that in as total.
Yeah.
But Nikki is right.
Yeah.
He did ask for an increase in hours, but it was a total of 3 hours extra
Okay.
because he rearranged some of the hours with his staff.
So how much was that increase cost?
2,685.
yeah,
$2,600.
$2,685.
And part of that is the day, but
Okay.
So, did that
3
amount
more, it
get-
says 3 more hours at $17.21 an hour.
3 times 1721, you said?
So did that get voted in? Did you approve that?
yeah.
Okay.
1721 times 3.
And I believe that got voted that night.
I think
No,
so.
no, it did not. No, because
I
according.
believe it got voted that night.
Well, then it got voted the next night,
No.
but because that was approved before their expense budget was approved.
Okay, it wasn't that night because I was here and we didn't vote on it.
For town
But we
building
talked about it.
custodial, we approved $164,990.
But I thought last meeting we were just approving that longevity difference.
Right.
That's what we just
Right.
did last meeting. The
Because
other
it
one
got
had already
approved
been approved.
At
Yeah.
164,200.
Yeah, we just, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
and
I was
now for
approved before I got
town building expense, we approved, it was actually a drop. We approved $30,850. He had looked at his expense line item and came back. He talked to you, didn't he,
Well,
Sandy?
The expense went down, but the
Yes.
preventative maintenance
Went
line
up.
went up.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so
So
you're,
that's a big increase, just so we are aware. And what's the number that we actually have in line 42 now?
line 42?
Yeah.
is the number
It's
Tom mentioned.
164,990.
Okay, so right now, we are in a deficit of 57 cents, yes. 17,837,
Yeah.
57. Okay, so you're saying that I was not aware of that because I missed that meeting. So we added hours in custodial? We added 3 hours?
Mhm.
Did we vote which line does that have the increase in hours for the training? For the 5 hours a week?
Oh, that's up in
That was
Charlie's
treasurer's.
budget about,
Talking to treasurers.
Yeah, so what,
yeah.
is that treasurer's clerical or treasurer?
Treasurer's clerical.
Okay, so treasurer's clerical,
Well, wait a second.
Line 21.
is 5 hours a week?
I believe that.
I think it was 6.
Was it 6? It might have been.
For something tells me it was 6 hours a week for 16 weeks.
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, I could be wrong, hang on, let me, I just had it.
6 hours
Don't
times
quote me on it yet.
16 weeks.
10 in a minute and we'll find it. Oh, I'm looking up assessor, I'm not on department.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right.
6 hours
a
times
week.
16
Or
weeks.
16 weeks, yes. Good job.
And my brain was working that day.
So,
Okay, so there's,
Isn't that
that's,
enough?
so what is the final figure? Is it 59,760? Is the final figure
For
Yes.
21?
59,760?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
okay. So are those the only 2 places besides data processing where we're recommending an increase in hours? Is that what everyone recalls?
Well, I had spoke to the potential of increasing the town clerk's
Right,
hours.
we'll get to that one next. I just want to make sure that we list out what we know
What
we
we've
have.
already done?
Yeah,
Okay,
what's in the budget.
okay.
'Cause-
Now, wasn't there something from, health, that health agent?
So we received, so Barbara's here, so why don't we talk to Barbara about line 25? And then we can talk about cutting that expense line if we have
I
to
don't see
for
what we're.
health agent.
Okay, Barbara, the big question is okay, there are 2 questions. One, does the town of Halifax benefit from having a town clerk on hand when the town hall is open, period? And then 2, what will get done, it will not get done otherwise, if we do not make any change? What will not get done that will get done if we make the change? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I think I have some little notes here to help me, but it's not helping me at the moment. Currently, I've been working for 32 hours, the whole time the office is open. And I am still playing catch-up. For a good example, Sandy pointed out the minutes from last year's May town meeting weren't posted for 5 or 6 months due to not being able to get to them. So the office seems to be busier and busier, and I'm always playing catch-up. Records management, as far as cleaning out the vault, making sure everything's where it's supposed to be, whatever, is at the bottom of the pile. I can't even get near it. So and then the voters.
Can I stop you right
Sure.
there? Can you, I guess, give the top things that the clerk's job entails so that everyone knows it, and then list which ones are the, like you're saying, records management is the least important, maybe if everybody knows
I don't
what all the
think
things
it's the
are
least
that you have.
important, it's just I keep moving
Well,
down the list.
yes.
Because there's other day-to-day things, I guess. I don't know how to list them. Elections are at the top, that's my chief job.
Yep.
The election officer, voter registration. And then I would then put town meeting in the minutes as being the next priority. I know that's only once a year, but that's vital.
I would think that people would expect you to be recording their, or at least making sure that their records are properly taken care of in the town of Halifax for births and deaths and marriages.
Right, and it's not all computerized. I can give a good example of today. We had a funeral director input the data incorrect on a death certificate. So now it has to be amended. So since the town, Halifax, processed it, the amendment needs to be done by me. Now, he called last week. I was off for a couple of days. Assistant town clerk couldn't do it because I am also the burial agent for the town. Town clerk is, on paper. Nobody can be buried unless I sign off on it. So we had to wait till I came back. We got together, we had to get the evidence in order for it to change. Fast forward to today, he was in again today, brought the evidence for me. I was on the phone with the state probably maybe close to 3 hours. Not steady, but on and off. And it's still not rectified. That's something that the town clerk, so I came in with, great guns ablaze this morning with my whole list of what I was going to do, and it couldn't get done because most of my day was spent trying to figure that out. So, you can come in with best intentions. And down the pike, there will be more voting in office. Early voting will be happening in the office. And that will strictly be like I'm setting up a voting booth in the office and somebody has to man it the whole time, whether it be an election worker and a warden as well.
Now, the assistant town clerk cannot do burial agent type tasks. That has to be
The
you,
assistant town clerk can run the office day to day. She can print out the death certificates once they've been processed. She can print out the birth certificates, make the copies of all that, answering the phones direct. We get a lot of phone calls. In case anybody wondered, 9/10 of the phone calls come to the town clerk's office. And then we have to transfer them to the correct department where the answering service, which I didn't realize, of the town hall. So our phone rings probably almost as much as Charlie's does, as far as that goes. So we do that as well. So she can run the day-to-day office nicely. She's not caught up at all on elections. I'm also the head of the Board of Registrars, so I do all the voter registrations. I come in and keep that open as far as that, at night, the evenings that we have that. She's good she's great. She's been here a year and a half, and there's still things that she doesn't know, because sometimes something doesn't happen all that frequently. So I could have taught her when she first started, and it didn't happen again for 3 or 4 months, so it's retrain kind of situation. There's things I'm learning every day. Every single day there's something new, like today's amendment. And I am here not just me, I shouldn't do it, but I have been working as long as the office has been open for my whole 6 years in office, and I'm still playing catch up. I can take some of the fault on that, maybe I'm not the best delegator or something, but I don't know, I feel I'm going constant.
I'm trying to juxtapose our adding a whole bunch of hours to one department just for potential training and everything that we don't have right now, whereas we have an office that we have right now that's an elected office, a statutory office that has specific responsibilities that, in my mind, should be here when the town hall is open.
Well, I agree, I've always agreed with that. Once I was elected, I felt that way. I do, I think. And a lot of times, as I said, I was out a couple of days, they don't want to, Sue can answer their questions, my assistant can answer their questions, but they still say, well, I need Barbara, the town clerk, to call me back. They want to speak directly to me. And everything is on me. It's my department, it's on me, I'm the elected official. My assistant's not elected. She's appointed by me.
No, and I know
So everything does fall on my shoulders. All the blame, and I take it. That's my job.
And I know that when people come in to do research on their background, what do you call it?
The genealogy?
Genealogical studies.
Yep.
You have to be there because nobody else can, everybody else, you have to protect those records.
Correct.
You're responsible for those records. I can just remember what Marcia used to do, and what her assistant used to do. That's what I'm going on. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just standing up, my back hurts.
Pardon?
My back hurts, just standing up.
I know.
So is there anything else that the assistant can't do specifically that you can recall?
No, not, mainly the elections. Has not been trained at all election-wise. During the election, you're supposed to have one warden per precinct. I have one warden, I act as warden, I'm at the precinct the whole time. So she has to be here. By state law, somebody has to be in my office, and if not, I have to get a waiver, which it has happened in the past, but I have to have a waiver in order for that to happen, because if there's a question at the polls, I have to be able to contact somebody here at the office to look up. So I act as the warden over at the polls. I do all the voter registrations, all the meetings, all the elections, do the ballots, run the elections.
Well, with the condition of the budget, I'm not gonna move to increase any budget, even though we did just increase one other budget by a substantial number of hours in order to do some training. But I'm not gonna move to increase this one, in case people didn't notice.
Okay, so this is currently paid out of 24 hours. 24 hours?
Correct.
Why don't we, there were a couple more questions that we had.
Right.
If the financial condition changes, maybe our position changes.
Yeah,
Or
if I
your
could do more
emotion
homework,
changes.
I just didn't have time because we were in Acton all week long. But I'd like to work with Sandy on some of these receipts. I just think that our revenue is a lot higher than what we're using. I know. I won't do anything, I won't buy you, Sandy.
Well, it doesn't make sense to have a big, long discussion about that. Sandy gets to put it in the...
We've been there before. I mean,
We've had this
been there.
discussion before.
We've been there and wound up at the end of the year with an awful lot of money left on the table that we could have used to benefit a department, and we didn't use it. So
Well,
I hate being in that position, so I'm just gonna go back and look at it again
okay.
and try to convince my fellow committee members that it's valid.
Barbara, is there anything else that, we have a couple new members, so maybe that haven't heard what you said previously. So if there's anything you'd like to say, I'm gonna give you time.
I don't know. I really don't know what to say in regards to that. You go day to day, you do your work, kind of do it by rote. You don't even realize that what you're doing or what you're not doing. You just get it done the best you can. I make a list. I try to do it. Best laid plans. The same in every department in the building. I understand that. And probably every department in the building, somebody works longer than they're supposed to. So, that's just the way it works. I'm a little bit more overly conscientious, so sometimes I work more. I do, I feel like I'm constantly playing catch up. We're a people, my office is a people office just as much as a collector's is. There's somebody at the counter almost all the time, taking away from time that you could be doing something else. Which is what goes on. I understand that, but it's not, it's constant. It's not, okay, I'm in an office and I can get something done. We have to deal with the public. That's what the town clerk is. It's all public work. It's all vitals recommend, the dog off. That's what the job is.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Barbara or suggestions? Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next line item? So
So what's the
So you
historian collector?
we should make a motion to fund that line for right now.
Pardon?
It's held right now. Right now, it's not voted, correct?
Which
What line
line?
is it?
Which line?
Line
is that?
25.
Oh,
We held it, we didn't vote it, so we need to at least vote
Well,
it
how
up.
many hours did we put in there? Sandy, do you remember?
Right now, that is funded for 24 hours
No.
at
Oh, I'm sorry.
37,853.
Okay.
So is there a motion for 37,853?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm not gonna oppose.
Are you
You gonna vote aye?
Yes, I'll vote aye.
Okay,
It's gotta get funded.
okay. So that's unanimous, 37,853. If a member wishes to bring this back up again between now,
Mm-hmm.
we can, that member voted for it so they can reconsider.
Right.
Okay. It's always important to remember that if you want a motion.
Method to my madness.
Yes.
told me that after.
Because Peg had taught us that lesson the week before. Okay, the next line that we don't have here is line 31, collector expense.
I gave you a handout on that.
Okay,
Wait, I have my sticker
That
there.
was in tonight's part.
No, that's an
That's
increase.
an increase.
I met with the collector's office.
I have down, if Gordon's gonna check that out.
and I talked with Sandy, and Sandy suggested that she would check that out for me.
Okay.
I met with the collector's office and we went through their budget.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
In 14, in FY14, they had 24,322 pieces of mail for a total of $10,049.14 on postage. So we have,
Figure again,
Right here.
10,000 what?
it's in our handout. Right here.
Oh, okay.
all right? So we're recommending to fund that line, the postage, at 10,100,
Mhm.
Okay,
all right?
so that's all, we'll have no more bills that go out besides the people that didn't pay.
Well, that's everything we mailed in 14, so we're assuming it will be about the same,
Okay,
okay? The office supplies is another line that went up. They've already spent so far this year $2,998. Now that's their envelopes, their paper, their printer cartridges, all of that type of thing. And you can see in 14, they spent $4,445 on that line. Now they only funded it this year for 2,000, so obviously they're already over on that. So we're suggesting 3,500 for supplies. We're leaving the meetings at $1,000. This office is going to be having at least one new person. So the treasurer collector, because it's up for election. We left the meetings up at $1,000 because there will probably be meetings that person will have to attend. Took the mileage and put it at $150 because the more meetings you go to, the more mileage you end up paying out. But we took the dues down to $100. That paid $100 in dues so far this year. That's usually a one-time thing. It gets paid at the beginning of the fiscal year, so we left it at $100. The figure we came up with is $14,850, which is a decrease from what they had asked for of $1,108. It's still an increase from the previous year, but it is a decrease in what they had originally come in with.
Sandy, if we put in this decrease gets voted,
Yep. We bring it down $1,108.
so that would put us back to 16,729.57. Okay.
Alright, I make a motion to approve the line collector expense at $14,850.
Pardon?
I made that motion, $14,850.
I second it.
Okay,
Did I get it right?
yes. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going to tell me the figure you have.
I have 16,729 and 57 cents. 57 cents, or 627, 57. Okay. So the next line item,
I'm sorry, one question real quick.
yes,
So the postage expense for the treasurer collector, is this just mailing out bills to the residents of Halifax?
yep.
We should go paperless like the RMB did. Just saying.
Well, some
They don't
people-
even send you things anymore to tell you your license expired. They're like, your license expired. You're like, what? What do
Well,
you mean?
the problem with
To
that
save
is,
money on postage.
the problem with that is we need the money to come in. And most of these bills get sent out to escrow accounts, I'm assuming.
And it's not just the bill itself, but it's the demands. So when people don't pay, we have to
That's
send
another
out
one,
demands.
yeah.
So,
It would be interesting if we could find out how many demands, where does the demand money go? Does that go to local receipts?
the $5,
The
It
$5
goes
I'm paying on
to-
my
yes.
excise tax this week?
it goes to, shame on you.
And what color are they?
It goes
Cake.
to,
I get them too.
it goes to penalty and interest
Okay,
on, in your case, on excise tax. And the penalty and interest goes to local receipts.
okay, so it'd be,
So it is part of our revenue.
so it'd be interesting to look at that and see how many demands go out and how many we should forecast.
I think Pam just said for this excise, when she was at
Yeah.
the meeting, that 1,900 for this excise.
We should increase the demand cost a little bit.
Hey now.
Hey, I do. I'm guilty too. I got a lot of pink things in my house too all the time.
Charlie?
In fact,
Just saying.
the current collector treasurer has suggested that from time to time. I'm not, I have to go back and look. I thought that would need to be approved at town meeting, and I can't see town meeting approving it, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's something we can look up.
Well, the one thing that would be nice is if we could integrate somehow the soft write email system to email out to the residents.
That's what I'm saying. Instead of mailing paper bills.
I-
then it goes
I
to
know there
email.
is
Soft
some-
right email?
Well, soft write's the one that's creating the billing, right?
Right.
So if there would be some way to input the town residents' emails.
Email address?
So like the couple days before
Wow.
the bill is actually due, you blast them out like my dentist does and tells me I need to come in and get
Well,
that
as a
tooth
reminder.
fixed.
That's intriguing. I don't know, I'd have to talk to SoftWrite and see if that's a possibility.
My daycare does it too. I get my invoice monthly via email, and then I can just go right on the website and pay it, and they send out reminders.
But then aren't you adding hours and more work time to get somebody
Well,
to go through the whole
It's
list of
an
residents and
automated
get their
thing.
email
no,
addresses?
no, because if you had the system set up that you could just go to the town website and add your email address, like link your
Oh,
person to your email address, still send out the bill, because I think
Yeah.
by statute, you have to mail the bill. But if you could send out email reminders that the bill's due coming up and a link with your bill number to the website, so you could just click on the link and pay online,
Oh, yeah.
I think we'd probably stop most of those 1,900. And we get,
Yeah.
you get the money in faster.
Something to look into, definitely.
I can certainly ask the software company if that's a possibility.
Because it would just be a lot easier. I mean, most of the people are just gonna click on their phone now, click, pay the bill, and be
Yeah.
done with it. And especially they'd be doing it the day.
day.
Oh,
I think It's a generational thing.
Yeah, I absolutely would pay faster if it came that way, because I would look at the bill and like, all right, I gotta find a stamp, and now I gotta find my checkbook. But if I could just click on the link,
Mhm.
yep,
Because then you
I
have
do
your
it
own
right
account
away.
now, and then you forget about it, and the
Yep.
pink one comes,
Yep.
and there's another one too, after the pink one, I think, a green one or something. Or gray one? Blue one?
I'm sorry. I have this distrust of that kind of thing.
All your information is
I know,
stealable
it's all out
anyways,
there,
it doesn't
right,
really
right,
matter,
right.
so
Yes.
might as well pay your bills that way. So,
Well, then you'd have the same people who don't get that pink slip or the white or the yellow or the green or the blue in the mail, and then say, I didn't get the email. So
No,
it don't do
but-
any good anyway.
Or
But
Selman,
if-
or
if you-
Selman.
Or someone.
but if you sent out the original bill and sent out email reminders a couple days, like, your bill's due in 3 days, your bill's due in 2 days. If you don't pay your bill today, you get an extra $5
I find that
charge.
harassment, I call this,
The dog people do, because when you put the sign up on the, you know, dog licenses are due, you know, they really do, they think it's harassment.
but the
Well, if you-
utility company does that, National Grid does that
too.
too.
Is harassment?
You know what, though, I
That's
heard
the
that
only
National
reason I
Grid
remember
was
to
a
register my
scam.
dogs.
No, National Grid, if you, they keep calling you until you pay your bill, and I call the utility companies and complain.
Okay.
Verizon does that too.
Mm-hmm. I find that harassment.
I think it depends on the person. I think some people, like Gordon said though, like if you did look into the system and it was something like that was an option, even some people might opt to never receive a paper bill again. Say, hey, every time this excise tax
But you
is due,
still have to send
send
it
me
out.
an
It's
email.
saying It
Well-
doesn't solve the problem.
I think you still have to send the bill by Massachusetts statute.
Oh, okay.
But if you got the people to pay before you had to send, before we had to pay staff to stuff a whole second set of envelopes and mail a second set of envelopes, then we might save the town money that way. That was my thinking.
Well,
Because
and
I'm
if
always
people
guilty of
opted
missing that
into
first-
getting the email, you wouldn't have people who didn't want an email getting it.
That's what I'm saying, like
Right.
if you opt into it,
Yeah.
like, hey, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
email me when this is due. You
Yeah.
can still mail your paper bill or whatever, but.
All right. We're getting off. So. All right. So the next line is line 75. So 75 is vocational education.
So that must be an extra student.
Yep. So there was a.
And you just gave us the new
The
figure.
new figure is 159,000. And we won't find out if the students are actually accepted into the program until after town meeting happens.
Right.
So is there a motion to recommend line 75 at 159,000?
Voted quick, you guys didn't vote it last week, and it went up, so.
Is there a motion for 159?
I would move 159,000 to be the amount we recommend for vocational education for 2016.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. So, next line is line 78, Silver Lake assessment. The recommended amount is $4,127,189. So, this is still the same thing that's been talked about the last few weeks. We know this entails, it includes an amount for capital plan, and that amount of money will be coming out of E&D, so it doesn't affect the assessment. Again, my issue with the budget is that I think we're going to make drastic cuts to it next year, and I'd rather see the cuts happen this year. So, is there a recommendation for the requested number?
I would move $4,127,189 to be the amount that we are approving for the special needs.
No.
No, wait a second.
So
Where
this is
am
Silver
I?
Lake.
$4,127,189 to be the figure for the Silver Lake assessment for fiscal year 2016. And I would like to speak to that.
Okay,
I don't think we have any choice to be telling Silver Lake what they should be asking us they need or what they think they need. I think we can express all the outrage we want to about their sticking in all this extra stuff there. I think that we can tell them that we don't like it, I don't think, but we have one choice, we have one job, and that's to approve a budget for fiscal year 2016. And we can certainly afford this figure right here. And so that's the reason I moved it. We could write all the letters of outrage that you might want to write, and I will second it, but I think that we have to get an approval.
okay. Is there a second?
I have a question.
Okay.
So if we approve this
Yep,
and it doesn't go through a town meeting,
yes.
what happens?
So then there's this whole process that happens. We
If
send-
any of the, if any of the 3 towns
If-
don't approve it, the
if
same
t-
process will happen? Or
If 2 towns
Okay.
don't approve. If 2 towns don't approve, then the school committee has 30 days to hold a meeting. They get to vote a new budget, same budget, whatever, just another vote. Then the towns have 45 days to hold a special town meeting from that time they send the letter. So if the town holds a town meeting and votes no again, then they have 30 days to go through and have another, so this happens all the way to the month of December. If that happens, the way it was explained, they would get, the Department of Education, secondary education would come in, tell the district what their budget is, and that's what they would spend from December 1st on. So that's the process if 2 towns voted down.
Have either one of our sister towns asked us to not approve the amount that we've been sent?
No, but I think Plimpton is not going to vote to support it.
Well, I think they should let us know, though. You know, we can't just keep guessing
Right.
what other towns are gonna do.
I agree, but they've been behind on their finance committee. Kingston's meeting was supposed to be Thursday night, they didn't have a quorum, so they weren't able to discuss it
So when is Plimpton's finance committee meeting?
right now.
Right now? Let's call them.
I was just gonna say.
I mean, if we don't have an amount to go before town meeting, and then people say, well, gee, what did they ask us for? And we say, well, actually, they only asked us for like this amount of money over last year, and people at town meeting will look at us and say, seriously? You're not recommending it?
Can I just
Yes.
a question, and it's just a, more on a kind of general level. Peg just made a very interesting comment. Is it a joint venture between the 3 towns' finance committees to determine what is appropriate for each town to put in their budget and put before town meeting? Or is it really an individual act between towns? I mean, you can have a sensitivity to what Plimpton or any other town's going through, but really, from your fiduciary duty, your position as fiduciaries in this town, what is the right answer there?
My responsibility is to the town of Halifax.
Okay.
But I would always listen to the other 2 towns, because down the road, in order to support the town of Halifax, I might be asking them for a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And we have in the past. I
Mhm.
mean, I've been on, I was the town accountant
Yeah.
when, before education reform, when Halifax was always the town that couldn't afford it. And we
Mhm.
would ask one of our 2 sister towns, please don't vote it because we can't afford it. Well, you're the one with the growing population, that's why you have such a high thing. You know, come up with it. We got no help at all.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm very sensitive to that issue. If they come and say, we cannot afford this, we would really appreciate your holding up on it, I would really consider holding up on it. I don't see that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it just, and I'm not gonna derail your meeting, but it kind of brings you back to the Pembroke days, when Pembroke was still part of the region.
Right.
And nothing got approved, and there was no advancement of the school system, from what I understand, because Pembroke was the majority of students and they wouldn't vote for certain things because they knew eventually they were gonna pull out. So I don't know sometimes if the mindset of kind of a blended feeling from the town's finance committees is really in the best interest in the end of the towns and certainly of the students. Just my 2 cents, I had to just share.
The,
No, it's a point of view, it is.
Yeah,
there's no, like, we're not a 3-town finance committee that gets appointed and voted, like, there's no.
right.
I just think, like Peg said.
It's a little kludgy,
I guess.
where you know,
But I guess the real problem is that when you look, at least the 3 members that have been going to, well, 4, I can't think of the man's name that's been going from Kingston, that's been.
I can't think of his name either. He was standing during one of the last meetings. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I just think when you have everyone on the finance committees looking at the budgets going, there's a real issue here,
Mm-hmm.
and the towns might be able to afford it this year, but you know you can't afford it next year. Does it make sense to take a little pain this year so you don't have to chop your arm off the next year? And I guess that's my feeling. That's, yes, Peggy.
Well, we're trying to tell Silver Lake what to do, you know. We think that you can't afford this budget next year, so therefore we want you to cut this year's budget to prevent paying next year. But the way we deal with that is we don't vote for next year's budget. We should not be in the business of forcing them to do what we think is good for them, because they're the elected members of the school committee. People elect them to go in there and vote what's right for the town of Halifax. You know, it's not up to us to tell them. It's up to their constituents. If their constituents don't like what they're doing, let them throw them out of office and put someone else in.
Yeah, but it's also our job to make sure that the town can continue to function in a long term.
Is it?
I think so,
Well,
because we're appointed for more
well,
than
you
1
better
year.
look at what your statutory responsibility is. Your statutory responsibility is to bring a balanced budget before the town meeting, period.
Right, but you can do that.
Or you can do long-range planning, you can do all of that stuff, but we cannot be telling Silver Lake what they should be doing next year.
Well, actually, all of us have that responsibility, Peg.
Pardon?
All of us have that responsibility.
What
Not
responsibility? What
To tell Silver Lake, here's the situation, here's what you're
right, but we
facing.
have that responsibility as individuals, not
But-
as,
But as a finance committee, as a board of selectmen, as a town administrator, yes, we do have that responsibility.
I don't agree with you, Charlie.
It's fine, but point of view, as you said.
And I don't think that you should be defining what our job is. You should be defining what your
But
job is.
he said town administrator, board of selectmen, finance committee members all can have a point of view.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I thought he said we have a responsibility.
Well, I think you do, yeah. Because if you don't, if you simply say, the world only exists to June 30th of 2016, that is a bad way. You wouldn't run a family that way. You wouldn't run a business that way. You don't want to run a town. You don't want to run a school system that way, as if the future doesn't matter. That only the next 15 months count.
That's not.
Speaking from a Silver Lake standpoint, I don't think that's the way we
Well,
view budgeting.
Well, and I don't think you do either, but I think everybody has to be thinking
That's not the
in
way
those
I
terms.
think, and it's not the way I voted over the past 40 years, Charlie. You know that. I don't know why
When,
you're splitting hairs.
when we go out and we bond, we're thinking long-term. We're going to be paying the school debt.
Yes, we have
So,
to. Do you think that we should tell Silver Lake that this is what you should do next year?
But
no, it's not even what, here's the math. The math says this is what's doable.
Well, he's doing that. I don't have a problem with that.
When I
We can
telling
say
them,
that to them,
right,
but I am not going to predicate my decision based on what they do.
No, but you have to predicate your decision on what they do.
No, I don't.
Well, that's what you're saying, that it's their responsibility to come up with a budget. It's our
Yes.
responsibility to say whether or not we can afford it.
Yes.
But I think our
Maybe I'm not
responsibility.
explaining myself well. What I'm saying is that every year we have to bring a balanced budget to town meeting. That's our primary goal. Part of that is long-range planning, part of that is looking into how we budget estimated receipts, all that sort of thing. But what you're suggesting is that we say to Silver Lake, we know we can afford this year's assessment, but we're not going to recommend it because we think you're not going to be able to afford next year's assessment. Right?
I guess, yeah. Because we're not going to be able to. When you look at the raw math numbers, a 2.5% increase next year is what we're shooting for, right?
Okay, supposing they take a great big chunk of their E&D money and put it against their budget, can they then afford it?
They're doing that now, and they're planning on doing that next year.
Yeah, and can they then afford it next year?
The capital side, but not the operating side.
You don't think they can afford it? You don't, supposing they fund the operating side next year? See, they have all kinds of options that
Right,
we
well, I also,
Charlie,
I also have the option of driving the car off the cliff. Everything's fine until that happens.
Paula.
I have a couple of things to say about that. I think we all wish we had a crystal ball. We have a new governor. He's looking to have, I don't know how many hundreds of employees perhaps take early retirement. He's trying to cut the budget that way. He's a businessman with a very strong background in successful turnarounds. Next year looks bleak. Maybe something different will happen, but I agree completely with Peg. A lot of us have put a lot of time in looking at our capital needs, looking at the school in general, the budget, and I think we've asked for a number for next year that is doable for the town. We fully realize that the following year, and the year after that, and the year after that are going to be challenging. Every year in the past has been challenging. Let's take it piecemeal, but also think about the future. I am not going to sit on that committee and start cutting programs this year. When we could afford it, put Plimpton aside, when we could afford it, and do that to the students. If we can scratch out one more year with the programs we have, fine. If we have challenges next year, we'll deal with them. But don't ask us to cut this year when we don't have to.
I understand what you're saying, but I think from the perspective that I've been looking at the budget for the past, going to the meetings, almost every meeting.
No, you do, I know.
And when you look at the teacher salary line from the contract that you guys signed, and you look at just the raw numbers, if the towns can afford $350,000 next year for the 2.5%, the teachers are going to get $275,000 of that.
In Gordon, I won't begin to because I probably would comment beyond what I'm really supposed to. I'm not even going to begin to comment on the teachers' salaries in the contract. You know, the selectmen were part of that process. They have representation. You know, the numbers that were voted and approved were supposedly being supported. We have no choice. A 0-0-0 contract, they'd be standing in the parking lots. They wouldn't be in the building.
I'm not saying that you can't vote a raise, but what I'm telling you is, with that raise, we know that you have increases in retirement, you have increases in healthcare, you have increases in all the other items that we do.
Yep.
There's no way you're going to be able to come in at 2.5% next year.
No, and I think Casey's done a lot of long-range math, and she shared it with you. It's going to be a big problem.
So
we're going to end up cutting programs. We are going to, if things don't change, if Governor Baker doesn't do something, if the crystal ball doesn't roll the way we want it to, we may be cutting programs significantly. But do you want us to do that this year?
I guess, yeah. I would rather see you make small cuts now,
Yeah.
than next year have to make huge cuts.
Well, obviously, the committee doesn't feel that way because the budget that we've agreed to is the budget that's in front of you.
Yep.
So if that's something you folks feel, and you're not, you're not in agreement with what Peg just shared, then I need to know that, so I can go back because it's the 11th hour.
I'll just say that that's what I've been saying the whole time. The rest of the board hasn't voted. We haven't voted yet as a board, but I think that that's what I've been saying when I've been going to the meetings for the last.
And you have, Gordon, and you're very articulate in those meetings. You take your role very seriously. Every town should have a Gordon on the finance committee, quite
Thank you very
frankly.
much.
And you've sat there and listened to us.
Right.
So we have different positions on this year. We feel strongly that if the town can afford the $4 million number, that's where we'd like to be. Next year is next year. We'll take it as it comes and we'll try and deal with it the best we can.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Actually, I do. This is the first I've heard that Silver Lake seems to be aware that it's gonna be a long-range issue to keep funding it, and I think that changes my perspective on it. Because if we know that it's not looking sustainable in the long run, and we approve it, because this is the only conversation that we have, is whether we approve or disapprove, or whatever conversation that has here. We don't have a big conversation with all the towns together, right? Our conversation is through the numbers. But realizing that the Silver Lake School Committee realizes that there's a potential funding it long-term issue coming up, I think that kind of leads me towards saying, well, it is their budget, as long as they know what they're doing.
And as long as we put them on notice saying, if you come in with that next year, we're not funding it. You might as well know that right up front, so that you have the option of either cutting a little this year and a little next year, or cutting nothing this year and a lot next year. That's your choice.
I would like to hear from Cliff.
Try calling Sue. See if they're. I'll call them.
What do you want to do?
And again, my 2 cents, I question if that is really a correct element to really feed into your decision.
Well, I understand that point of view.
We're just gathering information though, it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
just to see what they say.
Yeah.
I'll try to call her and see if she answers.
I hate this. I was on the school committee when 2.5 went in. We had to fire 2 teachers, do away with 2 buses. It was brutal.
I remember, I was in school when 2.5 went through, and I remember my father voted in favor of it. I remember my sisters not speaking to him for like a week, because he actually said, did he forget he's got kids in school?
Oh, yeah, that was brutal. That was awful.
Yeah, it was.
I was on that night, I cried. I said to Tom, I can't do this anymore. And I didn't. I ran for the town accountant. I said, well, if I get to be the town accountant, I can tell the school committee what the truth is, because they weren't telling us the truth at the time. You know, they were.
It also insulated you, because then you couldn't be on that committee.
Okay.
What?
I said it also insulated you, because then you couldn't be on that committee. You couldn't be on the school committee and be
didn't
the
have a
town
meeting.
Oh, no,
accountant.
I could offer that in order to be a town
Yeah.
accountant.
They didn't have a meeting tonight, so they haven't voted.
Who?
Plimpton hasn't voted yet.
When's our town meeting?
Have they expressed an opinion?
Their finance committee has not expressed an opinion yet. The
All right.
chair has, just like your
We're
chair.
out of time.
Okay, is
I
there,
vote to approve Silver Lake.
which, Peg has a motion.
Oh,
It's already motion.
Is there a
Okay, I'll
second?
second it.
You'd have to second it.
I'll second it. Sorry.
Okay, Any further discussion?
Oh, my pen.
Do you need another pen?
No, I'm good, we're going.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. All those abstaining? Okay.
Oh, wait a
So the
minute.
chair's in question. The chair's in question of himself.
What happened?
I heard 2, 1,
I
and then I
didn't,
didn't.
I didn't say anything yet.
Gordon, what did you?
I voted no.
Okay,
I didn't hear.
You guys voted
I voted yes.
yes, and I didn't hear from 2 other members.
I didn't vote anything.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
can,
I didn't hear no, so.
I know, I was a no.
No.
So
I said no. And
You're a
I-
no?
Yeah.
You're a
Oh,
no?
you voted no? Okay.
Okay, so that's 2 to 2.
I'm torn. I agree with Gordon, but I agree with Nikki and Peg as well. I mean, my thought is, looking at it from my own perspective, like my own finances, if I know, like, for some reason next year for me and my family is gonna be financially straining, and I would think twice about making purchases this year that I know I can't, you know, I won't be able to sustain, and or I might need the money next year to do something else with it, rather than, you know, fixing the track this year.
I
or
agree with you. And
doing
if I were
something
on the
next
Silver
year.
Lake School Committee, that's how I would vote. I would not vote to maintain everything this year. I would start to conserve. I might not cut all the way, but I would.
But your point is, we're not making that vote, we're supposed to
We're
vote
not
on,
making that,
right,
that's not our,
right.
call, unfortunately.
So we're taking a
Just
vote
'cause
to,
we're smarter than they are.
we're taking a vote, we're taking a
I'm gonna
vote
put that
on
right
their
there.
budget and their total line, the total top line. They can change the internals of that budget all they want afterwards. We're taking a vote on the top line,
That's right.
so.
What we can afford to pay for Silver Lake this coming year.
Okay, I'm gonna, I with Nikki and Peg and move it.
Okay, so 3 to 2. Okay. Okay, next line.
Okay, now let's agree.
Does that pass by our
It's
new rules?
3 to 2 for
It's 3 to 2.
4,127,189.
Yep,
So does
Okay.
that pass?
yeah.
Yes. right. All right, what else we got here?
Okay, line 115.
Wait, there was something in here, I don't remember what it was.
We have a letter from, well, where's 115 is health expense. So we received a letter from her tonight in our,
No, I just gave it to you.
okay.
It was an email
Okay,
that didn't get emailed.
okay. So we
My
have,
fault.
to the finance committee,
It's fine.
RE level funding
Fair mail.
for the Board of Health. Dear Finance Committee, it has come to my attention that the Wage and Personnel Committee has not approved our request to establish the position of Assistant Health Agent. Therefore, I am requesting the expense account to be level funded. Okay, so the expense account, do you have that page of 115?
115, but I seem to be in salaries. We're after salaries.
It's after clerical salaries.
It's 150, line item 150.
No, but I mean, 115,
I know we-
116,
I'll get there in a minute. Let me see.
17.
The expense
I don't think I
account
opened this
had,
anymore.
I know Linda had it on hers because I was looking at hers when Kathy was.
There we
Is,
You got it?
It is
Yeah, Linda has
115
it.
is-
Yeah, it is fine, very good.
go. Hey, you want some?
It's, it's in between the inspectors and the clerical.
Yeah.
There's-
I don't have it.
so
Yeah.
here's Linda's copy.
You just
Let's make sure we
send
get
it.
it back to her. Okay, so meetings is, so the total last year increased by, where's the increase? $3,120 for an outside consultant to come in and do
Restaurant.
restaurant inspections. And when Kathy came before, she told us because the agents didn't have an insurance rider that they needed in order pay for that would be more than the $3,100.
Right.
Right.
Except she has found out from Charlie that they would be covered. It's just the person who she was trying to get to do it, their insurance company said, no, we're not comfortable with that.
If they're an employee,
Yeah,
then they would be covered under, our general liability, et cetera.
even if they're in the outside,
Well,
It's being paid,
because
Out of
it's
the
not
expenses
an
of the
assistant
employee.
health.
Okay, well, no, that's just
Then
problem.
it
The usual rule is if you're an outside contractor, you have your own insurance. The town could make the decision and request, right, I don't know if there's additional premium or not, we're talking small change here,
Yeah,
that this particular person be covered under the town's general liability insurance for their actions. And we're not gonna cover them for workers' comp, we're not gonna cover them for property, but there's no property, but we cover them for general liability, we could do that. And I'd have to talk to our insurer to find out what, be probably a nominal charge of the premium.
but what she was trying to do is get the position of assistant health agent
Mhm.
established and take that $3,120 and put it in a wage line. But wage and personnel did not support that, so she'd like to leave it in her budget. Her budget actually went down $60, but she'd like to leave the budget at the $7,395 for this year, and she would like to pursue finding the consultants again. In the past, we've found other health agents who were, like in neighboring towns who were willing to do things like that.
but this is the first time that we would actually be doing that. Yes.
Yes. Being paid out of the
Expense
expensive,
line.
yes.
So, so the request is for $7,395, but if you took out the $3,120, would be $4,275. And that would bring us,
And if she's asking for level fund,
well, that's what I'm talking about.
last year was 7,455.
Yeah.
I just have to go grade papers, so let's just take out all the extra hours.
Sandy.
Hmm?
Last year was 7,455. Did you
Right.
say 7,395?
$73.95 is what they had asked for.
Right, but she's taken that off the table.
No, she's putting that back on the table,
Oh, okay.
So,
$73.95.
so I'm at 16,729.57 in the red. Is there a motion for this line?
You're, of your version of the deficit, right?
Yeah, my first.
Okay.
Alright, we gotta find this somewhere, and we have to find it tonight, right?
Yeah,
And
Just to put into the
I
book.
can't be here till midnight, so
Okay.
we gotta find this money. Where are we gonna find it? I think we have to take out all these extra hours we put in and take them back out. I mean, I love the buildings and we gotta upkeep them, but where are we gonna find $15,000? We're not gonna find it $100 at a time.
Okay.
Nikki's right.
Can I consult with the town accountant, please, out in the hall? Sandy.
Sandy, if you need,
Come with me.
I was gonna say, if you need some
I
support
need
here,
support.
so the,
I might take your.
Wait a minute, I find
so
my paper.
Sandy, I have one other question for you.
Yes,
The building inspector line
yes.
has the top step, and the current building inspector is definitely retiring.
We have we have a letter saying he's retiring, yes.
So if we put the step 1 in there,
Yes.
that should cut us, right?
Right, as long as we have sufficient money for the vacation
Wait a minute, let me find my, Sandy, let me find my paper.
The project,
Hold on, one second.
If he's, do we have resignation letter, when is it resigned?
it's as of June 30th, I believe.
Then the vacation accrual has to come out of this year's budget.
Let me check to see, I have to go look. One thing at a time, I can go look for the letter, but I think Sandy would like me.
Okay, so, Peg, go ahead.
Gordon, what line was the building inspector that you just asked about?
Building inspector,
Sorry.
It is line 63.
Okay.
So there's another item that I know that we had a letter of retirement come in.
Okay, so do we know the difference? in
No,
steps?
so we'll need to get that.
Charlie's gonna figure that out.
Yeah.
So you're thinking we might be able to find the 16,000?
No, it's not gonna be 16 grand there. It'll probably be a couple, but if we get a couple there and does
Yeah.
anybody have the book? So,
Should be right there.
Why do we need a consultant for the board of health?
If not, I'll run up to my
So,
office and grab
as
it.
long as we're on the Board of Health,
Is it right there?
No,
don't they have
this
a
is
board
11.
that has something to do with inspecting barns? or
Which book,
something?
the blue one?
There's a
Uh,
letter
This
that
is
went out
11,
to
yeah.
thinking that that was not to pass. But that,
Gordon, which
that
book
that
you
money
looking
for
for?
inspecting
The-
barns was a thing.
the one that would give us the wages.
And there was an article,
That's-
There's an email saying.
The town report.
For an article, but.
Or the warrant from last year.
It has, I don't really.
That will be the last one you have, 2014 is at the printer.
No, I
I know, because 2014 is at the printer.
Okay, I can't find my paper, but I can tell you.
So we
mine.
could just add 1.5 to the step, right?
Unlimited.
Wouldn't it be under the town meeting?
I don't think the steps are in it.
What do you need, just the sheet? I have
Did
a
Peg
sheet
have
upstairs
something
in my.
last meeting with steps and money and stuff?
Yeah, I see.
She's in the hall waiting for you.
Okay, hey, hey.
Otherwise, I have the sheet upstairs.
Charlie and I were just looking at the state revenue, the state aid.
Okay.
The difference between
So what is?
level funding, chapter 70, and the unrestricted, and the governor's budget
Right,
is 40,000,
Because, well,
okay.
all right?
that would have been.
So
money
if we
going
cut
to
that in
the-
half and say, we'll
63,
go
roughly
halfway,
So 1.5
estimate
times is-
halfway,
Yeah, because
towards
right now,
the governor's
it's
budget.
63.
So they might
It's
want- they might cut some of what he says, but give us half of it.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
So that gives
That's
us
right.
20,000,
Okay,
So then
that's
we're in the clear.
20,000.
We're off like $3,000 if that happens.
$3,000 if that happens.
Okay.
Okay, that's.
Well, you might do
okay,
it
that's
three
20,000.
because it's
Now I
1.5.
got another proposal.
For last year, and 1.5 are recommending this year.
Oh, I-
No,
Right.
there's no 1.5
okay,
on this year.
Okay, I want,
Well,
okay.
wait to
I want
personnel committee that they were recommending.
You don't have to touch it tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I might have read it wrong.
No, you're right, they recommended it, but the finance committee has not taken a
I was just
position on it.
saying, we say three.
All right, so grade 10, step 1, this is out of the previous year. So 54, 260. So if somebody do that number times 1.5, and then step 6 is 62, 481. So I'll do 1.5 times that and make sure that that equals. So 62, 451 times 1.015. That's 63, 419. So 63, and then, is it 250 for longevity if you've been here? Is that the highest?
I don't get that.
Because it's at, let's just see what the difference is.
This is 63, 669.
Hold on, I can tell you.
Put it in, right?
63,
Why don't I just look at the wage line?
669 minus 63, 419. Yeah, it's 250 difference. So you must get a longevity.
I was gonna say, I'll just look at his wage line.
So 4, 5, 260 times 1.15. So 55,
You wouldn't do it, but I would do it. You know what?
74.
I hate to cut it on the other one, kept cutting the budgets close,
Yes, that's
but
Yeah, I got the numbers.
So what's the difference?
we have.
So
Yeah,
the
okay.
current line is listed
So now we
At
have 40,000.
66,
You're gonna go all we're gonna get is 13 on the, if we do the other
50.
75.
So the current line is listed
95%.
at 66,669, correct?
No,
So I'm not
63,
gonna ask you.
669.
Oh,
Let's not look at it.
Good call.
That's why I can't find it. I'm like, I don't, where
I'm
did
gonna
that?
ask.
Yeah.
say the
I punched it in
price
wrong.
of everybody else and not-
63, 669,
She's talking about
minus
taking the,
55,
reserve fund down.
074.
Why?
That's at
We
8,500,
cut
so
everybody else, but we don't cut ourselves.
8,595.
Yes, we are.
That's almost
Yes, we are.
86, that's half that we're
In the
missing.
eyes of the.
Sandy just came up with the other half,
16,000 on veterans.
Okay, so,
more
here,
than the other half.
Where'd you find that?
so,
Sandy can explain.
I have 10 years of that.
Okay, Sandy just gave us how much?
20 grand
I'm from where?
from the budget, the governor's budget. She
On the
said,
revenue
we,
side?
well, hold on,
Go ahead.
hold on, let's ask her.
So while we're waiting for Sandy, wasn't there an article from, or relating to health, inspecting barns?
There's a proposal in the Board of Health that's been going on, but that's not an article. The article is the Agricultural Committee. That's the article to become a right to farm town.
Okay.
Okay, so hold on, let's go to, so quickly, Sandy,
Okay,
what we did while you were in the hall. The building inspector wages is currently $63,669. That includes a $250 longevity. If we go to a step one, building inspector with a 1.5% raise from 213, we would be at $55,074. Yep. The
I'd
difference.
feel better if I saw this sheet, but go ahead.
Okay, the difference is $8,595.
Okay,
So if we take,
yeah, let me see the book.
yep. So if you take grade 10,
What Charlie was talking about is when the current building inspector leaves, we have to pay all accrued vacation.
in this fiscal year, not next,
If
correct?
he resigns in this fiscal year, we have to, Charlie's looking for the letter. If he resigns this year, we pay it out of this year's, and it will probably be a reserve fund transfer, because there's no extra in this budget. If he resigns as of July 1st, then it's in next year's budget.
Okay, just text it.
Do you want me to text?
Don't.
I text.
urgent, important.
I think it was.
What
When are you
what
resigning?
Charlie and I were talking
Yeah.
about, all right, was currently the difference in the governor's budget
Yeah,
and what we're using for the state aid figure is 40,000. That's a combination of the chapter 70,
Yep.
which we level funded, there was about 11,000 there, and the unrestricted, which we level funded, and there was 29,000 there, so it's about 40,000. We would be comfortable bringing it up 20,000. Because we feel that if the Senate and House come back with a figure, they may not cut all of the governor's increase,
yeah.
may just cut a portion of that. So therefore, we're going about halfway. So that would get you $20,000.
Okay.
And we're feeling comfortable with that.
Were we going,
Because we have
were we going with level funded before?
So,
for the state?
Changing the building inspector and going with the 20 grand, that gives
Yeah.
us a surplus of $11,770.43.
We level funded chapter 70.
And that's just giving us half
And
that's for
unrestricted.
the 20.
We took everything else the governor had said.
Yep.
But we level funded the chapter 70
Yep.
and the unrestricted because we were nervous about what the
Yep.
Senate and House was going to do.
So now you're
So we
splitting the
put-
difference.
So now we're saying, well, maybe the Senate and House will go halfway. The difference between
Yep.
what we got last year,
How much did you say one
And
building inspector?
what the governor is saying is about
The building
40,000.
inspect, the new salary package,
Okay,
is, you want the new salary of the building inspector?
I don't care, how much you say, how much did you say?
Oh, 8,500.
Okay, great, okay. Okay, and that's 20,
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
and that's 28,500. And how much did we need, Mr. Chairman?
So I had us down $16,729.57.
If you add
Julian
in
added
the
in,
8,500 for the building inspector, that brings it to 8,229.57 deficit, and then if you add in the 20,000 that Sandy's giving us,
We have
that
a
gives us a surplus of $11,770.43.
Okay, good.
okay,
I could agree with that.
Okay, great, let's vote it and go home.
And I don't have, and Sandy, I don't have to do the next thing.
okay. So, the question on the Board of Health is, do you want to leave the money in there for the consultants, or do you want to take it out?
Why do we need a consultant?
Okay, so last year she came in with a proposal.
Who, the Board of Health?
Board of Health
The
agent
health
came in with a proposal so that we would have an outside consultant come in to do a second round of inspections on the restaurants. Because currently she is not doing the second round of inspections that she is required to do.
Why?
Because of her workload, because
Doesn't
of all
have
the
any
things that fall on the Board of Health, all the different areas that, and she did a presentation, she did a wonderful presentation, I'm not qualified to do it. But they handle so many different areas, from the septic system, she has to do inspections on those. She has housing inspections when tenants are having problems or different issues with housing. She has the restaurants, all the contagious diseases, she gets involved in any of the dog bite incidents.
It's just her. She has nobody else.
She has a clerical, she has an administrative assistant,
She's the only inspector.
but she is the only inspector.
But you can, so on the septic side of things, I know this,
Right,
you can hire another person to come out to do the inspections
at your
at
cost.
additional cost. And if the agent isn't available, then that's what you have to do to get the job done. So I know that some installers are paying outside inspectors to come in and do that. So that's not included in this number either.
Because she's doing them?
Because she doesn't have that day available, and if you need to get a septic system
Right.
installed and closed up, you need to have it inspected.
She's doing it as part of her regular job.
She
She's
does,
doing it as part of her regular.
right.
But
she
if she's
does
not
not.
available,
Right, but if she's not available, they can hire, it's
a
an
list.
approved inspector from the Board of Health list. And they pay the town, we put it in a revolving account and pay the inspector.
We're talking right now, septic.
That's just septic.
Okay, is it cheaper to have her doing the septics all the time than just having the one-off person come in than it is to put this money in for
So
consulting?
this
for the
money isn't
second
going to
round?
consulting.
No,
What that is the homeowner that's
Mhm.
paying to have the septic installed
yeah,
is paying an additional cost on top.
right, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you're saying she's doing the septic thing, right? The Board of Health instructor,
Yeah.
the lady, the inspector, she does the septic. She doesn't have time to do the second round of restaurants because she's busy doing all this other stuff plus the septic stuff, right?
Yes.
Is it cheaper to outsource that septic part of it than to put this money in for consulting? So if she's not doing the septic anymore, she has time to do the restaurant inspections? Like, I'm just trying to see
So
if
I don't
there's a
know.
cost difference.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Well,
that was my
no, she's
question.
right. If she doesn't have time, if she's gonna do the second set of restaurants, she's not gonna have time to do the septic.
Right, so
But
when
she can hire someone to do the septic.
is it cheaper to hire someone to do the septics than it is to put this money in for consulting for the restaurant inspections?
Not for
That's the
people
question.
who are building homes or having
know about
septics repaired, because you understand that if she's not available, they have to pay that.
No.
out
What
of-
Julianne is saying is this $3,100 better used to pay
For
for
septic.
septics inspections than
Or
for
is
the
there-
restaurant
Well,
inspections?
yeah, is there a cost savings there?
I don't think it would be cheaper.
Okay,
No,
just a question.
because those review engineers, their fees are, I mean, if we were paying them rather than the homeowner, that's what you're talking, out of the
Yeah.
expense, I don't think it would be cheaper. I mean, it's probably six, one half dozen of the other.
But your question goes to getting the second. Why don't we ask her Who is the liaison to the Board of Health, do we know?
I have so many papers that off the top of my
I might be
head.
able to
don't-
find it. Could be
I
me.
was gonna say, isn't it
I
you?
don't might be, but I haven't talked to her.
I think maybe it's me.
Well, it's not you.
How can it be you?
Can't be you.
Because I'm the one talking. I think it might be you, Nikki.
It could be.
I don't know that I have a copy with me.
So what does she do for septic inspection?
So you, when
Like,
you,
what is her task at it?
the fifth, I can explain it from after the plan gets approved,
Yeah,
she goes out and inspects the bottom of the hole for the tank and the bottom of the hole for the field.
Okay.
and we need a town official to do that.
She also does the
The
perk
test
test.
as well.
I don't know what that is.
The
That's-
perk test
okay.
is when you
Dig a
dig a
hole,
hole.
Yeah.
find out how fast the water goes down,
Okay,
to see if the ground is suitable for a septic system.
okay.
So she does that. She also, and she does the bottom hole inspections and the final inspection.
Oh, there's another
sometimes.
inspection
Yeah.
too. Is it?
And the town has to do all these inspections. It's not on the homeowner to get it inspected and bring it to the town, it's the town has to do
No,
all.
because we have to make sure it's been installed correctly.
Okay,
All right, because if it was up to the homeowner, and what if it's not installed correctly?
well, I didn't know if the homeowner had like a certificate that they'd have to bring into town and say, my septic's been,
Yeah, because what she's
So
doing,
we-
she's
we
enforcing
have
town guidelines.
Approved
Okay.
and,
I'm Board of
approved
Health.
engineers.
How did I get Board of
I
Health?
don't know, but it says
See,
it right
there it
there.
is.
Me.
Huh?
I'll ask her.
What?
How did I get Board of Health? I get 2 schools, Board of Selectmen. We're changing that. I make a
And this over
motion.
on that side? What did we miss?
I'm the liaison to the Board of Health. I asked who was the liaison. I'm the liaison. Make a motion. All right, I will talk to her. So let's figure out what are we gonna keep the money in there or are we gonna take it out? We need to vote tonight. There's money available. We can take it out afterwards.
I would move that we put it in. I would move that amount of money with it in, which is,
Line 115.
I can't remember.
Line 115.
It's line 115, but how much? Oh,
7,395.
7395. No,
Yes.
really?
Yeah,
Okay. I move 7395.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so now, 119 Inspector of Animals, why did we hold that? Because it's.
Which
Was there a
number?
reason other than 119? Was there a reason other than the
Yes.
tiny little, okay, what was
The reason was that she was looking to combine that position with this outside consulting to
Oh,
get
okay.
an assistant building inspector.
Alright,
no, she wasn't.
no, oh.
That's what she said when she
The
came.
animal, no.
Yeah, that was the
Animal
email.
control?
Yeah.
No, Inspector of
Inspector
Animals.
of Animals, line
Inspector of
119.
Right, I didn't think so, but go ahead.
Because that was the email she sent
I
us,
have
right?
an asterisk that says, look at line 119 again. So that's why I have it on here.
Oh, I know why. I know why there's an asterisk just that says, look at 119 again.
Was it you or I?
Because, it wasn't me.
It might have been me.
Wage and Personnel has approved an increase for this position. And I can't remember how much it was for.
$3,180 maybe?
Huh?
$3,180?
Extra?
Extra?
$3,180
That's really
extra.
luck I have.
So I know it brought it to,
Did you print
no, because
copies?
it brought it to 5,000.
Did you print copies of the warrants?
Oh,
check
yeah.
one and double.
Everybody's got
It's
this
an-
article
Yeah,
two in
it's an
there?
Article 2.
In Article 2?
It's an
All right,
Article 2.
everyone grab your
It's-
annual, grab your copy of your annual budget.
Well, wait a second, I'd like to speak to one more
All right.
on this thing that Nikki was inquiring about. It's the animal control officer, whether or not she has
Oh,
that
yes.
thing.
I was gonna
Okay,
ask you.
I've talked to the police chief twice.
He doesn't think he needs one, because he says whenever he has an animal that has a thing in him, he runs them down to Keith Hopkins, who does it for free.
Well, I am not okay with that because I had my dog at Dr. Hopkins' office and I said, can you scan my chip just to make sure that it works? And they tried and my chip did not show up because their scanner doesn't read the chip that I put in my dog's this year.
Well, that's your problem. I did my job.
The animal inspector, the
Yes.
amount is $5,180. That's the total amount.
Yeah, I called him and I said,
$5,180, that's what
supposing
they
I donate one, and he said, I don't need one. I said, okay,
And that was the police chief?
the police chief.
I'm gonna talk to him.
I spoke to the.
Well,
I'll go
Hold on,
with
hold
you.
on, hold on.
Dog as well.
Hold on.
Don't forget, you're going into my.
Hold on.
Oh, can I talk to you?
Yes.
Get that gavel behind you.
I think
Hold on.
Gordon's the liaison.
Thanks, Paul. I know I'm not that one. All right. Who wants to speak first? Raise your hand so I can call on you. Sandy.
When I spoke with the police chief, he felt there was sufficient money in the animal control budget, expense budget, that if that was something that was deemed necessary, they could purchase it. They have had issues where they have had them, and before they even need to use them, they're no longer any good. And they also have the option of you borrowing them from the next town over, so they do not feel that they need it at this time. Certainly something you can address with him
Now,
another
since
time.
since the town accountant's
But
checking
they
on.
have-
Hold
what
on,
I
hold
do
on.
with- Oh, I said Mr. Chairman.
I didn't hear you. Peg?
Since the town accountant's checking on what I do with my departments, I called up the police chief and asked him the same thing, Sandy.
Yeah,
And he told me he doesn't need one.
right.
And I said, supposing I donate one? He said, no, I don't need one, and it's $300 that would be wasted. So that's how much it would cost.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest that our vice chair talks to the police chief
I will.
at a time to be
Well, tell you what,
to
why don't you take the police department and give it to her? If she's gonna run it, okay? I don't do that to other people.
I'm sorry, Peg.
Okay,
I'll talk to you.
it,
I'll talk to you again.
if this is a, well, you have a concern,
Actually,
I would suggest that you talk to the police chief as a concerned citizen about the dogs
Yes.
Yeah.
and
I'm
bring
gonna
back
do that.
any information that you would
I'm gonna do
like as a concerned citizen.
I will do that.
Okay.
I will not do it as a financial meeting.
Okay, but
Okay.
make sure you tell Nikki from the finance committee.
From the block?
And I had a long talk with him too. Oh,
Okay, so, what was so we took a vote on that, correct?
we already
Didn't
voted
vote
that.
119, did they?
We're still on 119,
We're on
though, which is
119.
not related to what we're talking about.
Okay, so let's look at the annual,
No, we
Warren.
didn't vote on 119,
I know.
which is
We have to look at-
unrelated to
We
the
have to look at
item
the
we just
warrant
went off
for 119.
talking about.
well, if you look at 119, which is the inspector of animals in the
Oh,
warrant,
okay. Sorry. I didn't know what it had to do with the warrant.
on Article 2, Section 8, it says Inspector of Animals. It's currently $2,900 with the following Inspector of Animals, $5,180. Which-
Okay, why?
Okay, so I don't have the answer to that one, so I would suggest
That's the Board of Health.
that somebody who is the liaison to the Board of Health goes and talks to them.
But aren't we going to print right now?
Well, we,
Yes.
so you've already voted this line
we voted at
at
two,
2,900. It's one of those things that can be amended on town meeting floor. If, I mean, because it's in Article 2, it's either going to pass or not pass. If
And it
it
would
passes, then we need to update the budget. So we would hold it when we came to that line. And I don't see that it would be an issue with the moderator, because even though it's increasing,
It's listed
there
here.
is, it's listed in Article 2. So we would just,
paying the same thing, for instance, we're gonna be dealing with the 1.5% pay increase.
Which isn't in our
Which is
printed
not,
budget.
right, you're gonna, I would assume right now, you're not recommending, I'm not assuming for you, but in the sense of right now, you don't have it included. Wage and personnel does. We're gonna have a salmon colored budget again for that purpose. So if we have to make other changes, we'll make other changes. We do it every year.
Yep.
I understand it's upsetting to some people that things happen between today and May 11th, but
Well, the legislature doesn't even come up with their rough draft budget until the 15th or later, so. So, we've already voted 119, correct? Okay, so I would suggest that we take that up at a later meeting. The only, okay, so let's get on to the next item on the agenda, although we can go back. Well, we need to go back to the building inspector.
yeah.
Let's
And I
see
just
if he
wanted
responds.
to point out, I need you to take a new vote on the group insurance line. We've brought that figure down. It's on the sheet that I printed out. Line number 152. Look at me with that blank look.
Okay, line 152.
Right, line 152. It was voted at 903,381. Since the time that it was voted, Charlie has got new figures, proposed figures from our insurance group. And we've gone to the assistant treasurer and have come up with a new figure for that line of $887,560, which brings it down quite a bit.
Okay, so would we? Oh, that's only like a $5,000 increase.
That's $13,000. That's $16,000.
It doesn't change your bottom line, your deficit.
Because your calculation is from the requested. Okay, so is there a motion to reconsider line 152?
I move that we reconsider line 152 group insurance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, there's 4 yeses. He's out of the room. Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
I want to ask the town accountant a question.
Okay.
This is from the assistant collector, right?
Assistant treasurer, yes.
Okay, and so her new figure is 887560.
Right.
Okay. Gee, now, if we knew that earlier in the...
I've already put it in the figures.
It's already updated.
Sorry.
Too bad. Okay, I would move 887560 to be the Plymouth County, no, to be the group insurance town share figure for 2016.
Second.
Yes. So this is the Mayflower group,
Yes.
okay? So is this an adjustment, because Charlie, you've got the newest numbers from
Yes.
Mayflower?
yeah,
So we
they'll be voting the official rates on Thursday. These were the rates voted by the steering committee last week.
So potentially Silver Lake could see savings there as well.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, so the only other item that we just briefly talked about, we didn't vote, was the building inspector wages. Charlie, did you?
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah, I checked. He's out June 30th, so we may be, either we're gonna have to do an article at town meeting
Or reserve fund.
or reserve fund transfer for the year we're in now. And then, but yeah, on July 1st, we should see a savings in that line.
So,
Now, this assumes, of course, I'm not arguing the point right now, we'll assume that the person comes in at step one.
okay. So if we did recommend that at step one. Here's the number. So right now it's at 63,669. We voted that we could make a recommendation of step one.
Well, you're recommending it, the amount that would be equal to step one, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to reconsider line 63, building inspector wages?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Then,
What was the figure, Gordon? Sorry.
so $55,074. That assumes no longevity. So,
Well,
yes, Peg?
if the selectmen plan to negotiate with the assistant building inspector, I think that he's gonna carry longevity with him.
Right now, the assistant building inspector, as some of the other positions, do not qualify for longevity.
No, they don't.
No.
Okay, so is there a motion to recommend?
Did you say he doesn't qualify for longevity?
Not as, no, because his position is, and the unclassified, it's a stipend position.
Sorry. So is there a motion to recommend at $55,074?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, so 4-0, it passes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I abstain on the basis of the fact that the selectmen have the authority to negotiate this before we go setting the salary.
Well,
Isn't it at grade?
yeah, the only way it gets, other than that, the board could go to wage and personnel and ask for the person to be able to start at a step other than step one, but it's not a contractual position, it's something that will still need to go through wage and personnel, and it's only effective if, in fact, the money then is appropriated at town meeting. So the person would still be paid at step one until a future town meeting.
True. My point is, Charlie, that we're foreclosing the ability of the Board of Selectmen to negotiate.
Well, we need to put some number in there, and we know it's not gonna be at step 5.
No, that's okay, go.
I mean, they
You
can,
can.
okay.
You do what you do.
Okay, so that's 85.95 is what we cut there. So, Julianne, what was the total that you had, we're at now?
Wait, was it 8,500 or 8,595? Because originally it was 8,500.
85.95.
Okay, so then we need to add another $95 to that 11,000. So, what am I adding again? 95?
85.95, yeah.
$11,865.43
Okay,
surplus.
that's the surplus. $11,000.
865. 865. 23. That's good. point, I don't really mean to be causing problems for this committee, but I said if money came available, I would bring up the position of the clerk again. And I would like to see it come to a vote, since she's made her case and I've made my case.
Okay, so,
I would move that the town clerk's position be classified as a grade 10, 32-hour-a-week position.
well, we just get to set the salary, not the grade. We can't do the grade.
Well, I would move that we set a salary based on that figuring, which is how we've always done it in the past. I don't know if
So
it's-
can we just take the current clerk's salary and divide by 24 and multiply by 32 to get the number?
Or multiply by 4/3.
I don't think it's gonna do it.
Thanks, Charlie. Man, everyone's beating me up today. So can somebody do that math? Because my phone's charging.
So it's
I can
24
give you that
hours
phone.
right now.
Thanks, Kendra.
It's 24 hours right now.
So bad challenge.
24 hours, yeah.
So it's 37,853 currently at 24 hours,
Times, and we're talking 32,
32 hours.
it works out to 54.70.
3,
Right,
Eight.
and if we subtract 37, 853, that's a difference of 12,617.
What's the difference, Vicki?
12,617.
An increase,
And what did we have?
11,865.43.
You want to do 31.375 hours?
Yeah. So that'll bring us back to deficit of 751.57 negative.
So we're in a deficit if we do the full 32.
I defer to the clerk. You want to take it? A bite at a time?
Raise it to what you want to raise it to. I'll work to that.
Pardon?
Raise it to what you want. You don't like that?
I already lost it. I'll just
Oh.
go for it. I'm not going to ask you what your code is on camera.
Here, you want
Yeah, this will be charged up enough.
Alright, so you want to see what 30 hours looks like?
Yeah, see what 30 hours look like.
33 divided by 24 times 30, 47,316 minus,
Are you using the figure that's on this one? Wouldn't you use the one I'm currently at?
This is what you currently have, isn't it?
No.
Aren't you currently at 37,853?
Am I?
yep.
You are. I am, okay.
All
All right, you are. Sorry.
So this, for 30 hours, it would be a difference of 9,463.
So for 30 hours, we're in a surplus of,
$2,402.43.
and then the other item that we talked about tonight that we feel we should support, or at least we did support, was the data processing line. So those are the two items that we've talked about tonight that we talked about increasing, so. Yes.
I really feel very strongly about the data processing line item, and I would fund that by just reducing the finance committee's what do you call it?
Reserve fund?
Reserve fund by that amount of money.
Wait,
By
is it
$20,000?
$20?
No, by whatever we need to, oh no, I wouldn't cut it by 20,000. But, is that how much?
Where the difference between what was requested,
Start off with.
Yeah, but I think Charlie's gonna
Well-
negotiate, I mean,
Well, wait a
you want
minute.
the whole thing, do you, Charlie?
When you've been using Sandy's numbers, you've been using 70,000?
yeah,
Okay, so leave it, and we talked about doing a half-time person
Yeah.
at 70,000, it's within, yeah.
okay,
You don't have to make any further adjustment, I mean,
okay.
you know, would I rather have a full-time person? Yeah, but we're where we are. I mean,
Because,
I
you
like,
know, we're cutting everybody else, so we're not even looking, touching ourselves.
Well, the only issue that I would have touching the reserve fund is that we're not increasing everybody else, and we're more likely to see more reserve fund requests next year.
Well, in that case, we tell those people to go to town meeting and stop hitting the reserve fund. Well, you know, there comes a time we should start making these big decisions on behalf of the town through the reserve fund and say, if you can't manage your budget, we'll call for a special town meeting, you can go to town meeting.
Well,
You know, there
I
comes a
think
time-
level funding the reserve fund is pretty conservative. If you're talking about
Level funding
we're talking about level funding the reserve fund, not,
at 75.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'd like to know how much we spent out of it last year. How much did we spend last year? And I would hold it to that.
That's not out of, is that out of raise?
Raise and
It
appropriate.
is out of raise and appropriate, okay.
We've put the
At
reserve
this
fund
point,
in
at
the
this point it is,
OPEB.
right, Sandy?
Yes.
The balance that we had left at the end of the year was 29,000.
Say this again?
The balance we had left in the reserve fund was 29,556.
How about the previous year, 2013? 556?
No, the year before, we had left $35,748.
Repeat that one more
$35,748.
So we could afford to reduce it by some without jeopardizing our ability to serve the town.
time. Well, okay, we still have, we need, if we're gonna make a vote to 30 hours, we need a motion to reconsider the town clerk's position, and then we can talk about the reserve fund when we get to that article. If we're gonna get to that article tonight.
Is that an article? It's not.
Oh, okay, now, do we have to do something for the,
Data processing? We
Yeah.
already voted data processing.
okay, so we're not waiting for another, we're not looking for more money to fund data processing.
no,
The only reason I brought it up is if you wanted to make that what the request was, yes. If we're fine with a part-time and you're gonna fund the clerk at 30 hours, make a motion to reconsider the clerk.
Well, I know what to do, I just wanna ask Charlie if he's happy with that activity on the.
I'm gonna be
data
happier
processing.
than I have been. Am I gonna be absolutely happy? Do I think it's the best solution for the town? No, but it's the best solution for the town, given the constraints we've got.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Go ahead. I move that we reconsider the clerk,
Okay, is there a second?
the town clerk.
Line 25.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
All right, I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion on reconsideration? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose or abstention? Okay, passes. Okay,
Okay, now what's the new figure? You have to tell me.
So are you looking for?
so 30 hours is this number,
Okay.
32 hours is that number.
Well,
We're in a
yes, but
deficit if you go
deficit's
here.
in deficit. No, no,
If you
I
go
don't want to
here-
put us in deficit. Okay, I would move that we fund the town clerk's position at 30 hours at $47,316 for fiscal 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
That was 30 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, further discussion, okay.
It totally makes sense to me. I believe Barbara, I see her there every time I come in, but it's a big jump. Is it appropriate for us to make this decision?
That's where the recommendation comes from. Where
She's
the-
an elected official, yes.
It's Article 3 on the warrant, so it's
Article 3 is your article
our
for the
article.
elected officials.
So we're just recommend it.
Mhm.
Whether or not it gets voted is to the townspeople.
Wait, we're talking about two different spots here now, right?
Well, yes, so first you, at Article 3, in the warrant is the first place it'll come up, and to fund it, you set the salaries at Article 3. You fund them at Article 4.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All those in
I
favor?
think
Aye?
Can I speak?
Yes.
You have to take the personality out of it. It's not me, it's the position of the town clerk. Because coming down the pike, it won't be me. It'll be the other restraints that, are the jobs that come up upon, as I'm saying, the early voting that's gonna be coming down the pike, whatever. Position of the town clerk if you feel it, not the position of Barbara Gaynor.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstention? Was that everyone? Aye?
Do you want to vote?
Yeah, I seconded, didn't I? I don't remember. Yeah, seconded.
Okay, so it was unanimous. Okay. So that's the clerk. So are we done with Article 4?
Yes.
And we're at a budget with $2,000 of $2,402.33. 43 cents.
But yes. You're welcome for 10 cents.
Okay, I'm standing up and taking a break. So
Now
what-
you want us to do the,
well, the next thing is to look at the town warrant and
okay, now do we have the recommendations of the,
we don't have the capital.
planning?
What you have in front of you after you went through the Article 4 are the articles for town meeting. Put in, the top section are the capital item, and they're put in the priority of the capital planning committee. That was the priority we had put them in. It's not going to make a difference at town meeting because it's all gonna be lottery, the way they come up. So,
Yeah.
currently, all these articles right now, if you added up all the articles on here, we're in a deficit from free cash and overlay surplus of $13,321. But I have found an article that I am able to take some money from. There's money left over after the article is completed of about $20,000. So I am going to be erasing that deficit.
Do you think
We
that
will
would be
be able
enough
to
to
parse
cover
it.
the vacation as
The
well?
vacation, again, wouldn't be a town meeting article, it would be a special town meeting article,
Where did that money go?
because it has to be
Well,
this
it could,
year.
but it could come out of that article that you
It
found.
could come out of that article, yes. I don't know, I'll have to figure out, I can't say go in without knowing what we're going to need.
Okay, so for,
And if we can just make Tom take his vacation, no, he still gets his accrued vacation time, so,
I was gonna say, he would've had to have left.
yeah, I know.
okay, so,
So the sheet that you're looking at shows a deficit, but it won't because I do have additional money
Another
that's
fund
available
source.
to me.
Well,
Okay,
shouldn't we know that?
Well, that's what I'm telling you now, that's why. All right, I have another $20,000 available from an article. So I just didn't have a chance to update the sheet pay, but I'm letting you know now.
Okay, where did it come from, Sandy?
The flat roof at the school. There
Say that
is the flat roof at the school, the article, the municipal school building article to repair the flat roof at the school. There was money left over. And I
Okay.
have gotten the okay to use $20,000 of that money that was left over.
Okay.
Isn't that roofs the
Okay.
leaking?
not the
The
flat
article
section.
was for the section that runs from the library to the gym,
Yeah.
and that section was done.
Oh,
I don't believe that's
not
the
where
section
leaks
that's
are.
leaking.
And there is no article for the roof at the elementary school at this time.
No,
But we're working on that.
there's we are hoping that an application will go into the state building authority, school building authority on Thursday.
So do you think that you're gonna have a holder
No,
print?
I've talked to John Tuffy several times. At this point, there's no need to have an appropriation in there. That's what he's told me.
How about a funding source for a later special town meeting? Okay. So why don't we start, our agenda says let's talk about the 1.5% wage increase. I don't see how we can fund it, so I don't know how we can support it.
Okay, how much would it cost?
Hey, Sandy, it's gonna, 1.5's gonna come.
Thank you, Paula. Paula, was there anything else you wanted to?
No,
Okay,
good luck.
thank you.
Don't stay too late.
Was it 69,000?
69, yeah. And that was actually, I need that information out last week.
Look in your packet for
I think it was 69,250.
Yeah, that's right there.
69,250.
And that's
It was-
69,250. That's for all wage and personnel and wage openers for the
Yes.
unions?
And elected officials, so it's gonna go up a little because of ARPA.
Yeah, we're not giving money back.
I just think it is so unfair to see the schools get the major increases that they get and that we can't give the employees who work for the town a decent raise. Not even a decent raise, just cost of living.
Well, you can, but you need to change those two items that you talked about.
Like what? Two
Good.
schools.
The two schools.
The two schools?
If you wanted to balance the budget, yeah. Those were the two items that you brought up. You said the schools get the raises, the other employees don't. That's my comment.
Oh, so, well, wait a second, are you, wait a minute, Mr. Chairman, you're throwing me a curve. Are you suggesting that, I move a figure a lot lower for the elementary schools than, the 2.5?
No. But I'm recommending, if you're going to try to find a place for $70,000, that the two schools' budget is where you're gonna have to look. I can tell you that we got a text tonight of the updated version 4 budget, and I don't know if it was voted on or not. I just, a copy of the version 4 budget,
Silver Lake or
elementary school. And those numbers are what we have recommended. So when you look at line 74 through 79, their budget, when you look at their budget, version 4 has $5,102,810 for a regular day. Vocational is listed at 159,000. Special needs transportation is listed at 445,847. And special needs tuition is listed at 143,000. Oh, 1,443,583. So those are the numbers that we have. So those numbers are what's in version 4, and I'm assuming are being voted on tonight by the school committee.
Okay.
But I'm suggesting, if you're looking for $70,000, that's where you're gonna have to look for $70,000 between those line items. And you're not able to touch line 79.
No, I know that.
We really can't touch 75 through 77 either, right?
Well, you can.
Well,
In the past,
I
what
thought we
we've
don't
done
have
is
a
sometimes if we haven't had the money, we deficit fund those, and then we fund them at the special town meeting in the spring.
so basically you have line 74 and you have line 78, which are the two budgets. One for the elementary school and one for Silver Lake.
I mean, I don't feel comfortable taking $60,000 out of the elementary school budget, personally. Or 70,000, whatever the wage increase is gonna be.
No, that's not gonna fly in this committee.
So I know that wage and personnel is recommending 1.5. And if it's 70,000 for 1.5, you can estimate what a 0.5% is, not a whole percent is.
Still a lot of money to find.
I agree.
I can only hope that something happens between now and town meeting that we can afford to fund a 1.5% increase for the town employees.
Those are the two biggest budget items that the town has.
That's true,
So-
but sometimes things do happen, you know as well as I do.
I know we changed, how many things we changed tonight?
Pardon?
I said, how many things did we change tonight?
I don't know.
At least 8.
None of them were enough to cover
I understand.
that much.
So I don't, unless you're willing to touch those other budget items right now,
I don't know how I can touch them. How can I touch them without decimating them?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we can afford to fund a 1.5% increase right now.
I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has any other ideas.
I mean, we just went through this, a few hours ago. We were trying to find money just to cover the deficit we were in.
Right.
And we scrimped to do that, so
That's right.
we can't pull $70,000 if we don't have it.
So, I completely agree. And when you look at the rest of the wage and personnel article,
What article is it?
Article 2, I don't see, the only other change I see is the inspector of animals for and I don't see any other articles that have a cost associated with them, correct? Out of wage and personnel? Nobody else does, right? So I'll get information on the inspector of animals from the Board of Health. other than that, I don't see anything to change our operating budget. So, Article 3 is our article, so with the exception of changing the town clerk to the 30-hour number, which we need to make sure that we update that to, what was the number that we went with?
47,316.
Okay. All the other items would be level funded.
Even the treasurer collector is gonna, aren't we getting a new one?
Yes. So that position is an elected position unless you're gonna make a motion to change that pay. Correct?
Right, and that's never happened. They don't lower it.
So that
Because
stays the
it's a-
same
It's all, yes,
because it's elected.
because it's elected.
Okay.
Article 4 is our article. So Charlie, do we need to vote Article 3 with the updated town?
Yes, you're gonna need to tell me what numbers to put in the blank column. You can simply say, right,
Okay,
with changing the clerk, you
so make,
know, all the other numbers stay the same.
This is not important. Why are they slightly different and not in the same direction?
they're not, what do you mean, they're not the same direction?
That went down. No, it went up.
But we'll put these numbers over, there was a 1.5% on these
Oh, I'm
bills.
looking at the wrong year. Oh, never mind. Wrong year, sorry.
Okay, so is there a motion for Article 3 to fund at moderated 200, town clerk at 47,316, selectmen each 1,500, treasurer collector at 64,849, assessors each 1,500, and highway surveyor at 68,798. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, so 4-0-1. Okay, so Article 4 is our budget item. Article 5, these are the revolving funds. No changes here from last year except the solar projects.
Also, the inspectors, the wiring,
Inspector
plumbing,
wages.
I just bumped that up.
Say that again, John?
Wiring, plumbing, and gas inspector, the revolving account for them, bumped that up to 50, I think I put it in now.
Wasn't the library gonna add a revolving?
That
Well,
that
it's-
goes to an article in the warrant, and then the following year it would be
Oh.
included in this
Oh.
list, it'd be separate.
Article
Yeah, Article 5.
5.
Okay, so that's Article 5R, Nikki.
Okay.
Article 6 is the reserve fund. 7 is the firefighters. So why don't we vote Article 5? Is there a motion to accept Article 5 is printed in our packet tonight?
I would move it as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Article 5R, it's $1,000
I'll
revolving
move
account.
that article as printed.
Is there a second?
Excuse me, could I ask Charlie a question? about
Yes.
this? Charlie, why aren't they just putting this in with their other revolving fund?
I don't know. Mostly, yeah, that would be the other way of handling it, which would be to reword the list and under Article 5 to
Yeah,
include that. But
It just seems like we're, you know,
Well-
we're gonna have 10,000 of these things.
It's a bigger pain for Sandy than anybody else.
I know. I'm thinking of Sandy.
When the library director was in, she stated that she wanted to keep the money separate.
So that they
And
can
that was
account
one-
for the books.
Well, yeah, in essence, the money going
They should
to,
be able to keep records like that themselves without, don't you think?
I have no objection. I have no objection to a peg. It's just another number. It's fine.
Okay, I don't care. I just think that, you know, when it comes to creating a new one, let's take a look and see if a department has one, and if we can fold it into that one.
Kendra, can you note next year to talk about rewording that,
Reword what?
the library's revolving account? We'll just talk about it next year.
Okay.
So it's been moved, was there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Article 6 is the reserve fund, 75,000 for general and $25,000 for the water.
Okay, I would like to make a suggestion, Mr. Moderator. I was going to
That's,
move,
I get a pay raise for that.
if I needed it, I was going to move that we only take 65,000 for the reserve fund, because I just think it's outrageous that we're cutting everybody else and that we're not cutting that little reserve fund that we have to help everybody else. See, but I don't have to do it, so I'm not doing it. I just wanted you to know that next year that's up for grabs.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept Article 6 as printed?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. So line 7, Article 7 we should pass over. Article 8 we should pass over. Article 9 we should pass over. Article 10 we should pass over. Article 11 we should pass over.
You just mean you're not doing it. You don't
Right
actually
now,
mean
yeah, we're
something.
not actually, just
When are we gonna recommend them?
at town meeting.
well, you'll discuss that before then, don't worry, you won't be doing it on the fly one.
Gordon will be doing it on the fly.
All right, how far?
Everyone's picking on me tonight. Article 12, we'll pass on that one for now. Article 13 is $150 for the trustees for the Plymouth County, right, trustees for county
The
cooperative
extension,
extension service.
they do good stuff. I make a motion to pass that article for $150 as printed.
So make a motion to recommend as printed. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Oh, I second that.
This is the extension service?
Yeah.
Okay.
All those, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimous. Article E1.
All right, why don't we see if you're gonna explain what that article is, Charlie?
The E1 is that,
What's a peg access?
having talked to the state several times about this, they said that if we're not running our own cable studio,
Yeah.
we have to set up, it can't be a regular revolving fund, it can't be an enterprise fund, it has to be a special revenue fund, but it's another type of revolving fund.
And they named that a PEG fund.
Well, yes. And
Because she knows so much about this technology, right?
so we have to accept the statute to do that. I do have I'm checking one more time with the state to see whether we'll need to do an annual appropriation or not. Ever call into
So-
our representative at DOR, and I'm waiting to hear back, which is why I believe there's a second article after that to handle if we do need an appropriation.
All right, so
If we
hold
don't,
off on
we'll
both
pass.
of those for right now?
Well, we need to do the first one way or the other, doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care whether you recommend tonight or not, honestly. I just gotta go to press and I'll put, anything you don't make a decision about tonight, I'm gonna put recommendation at town meeting and off I go. But just to explain to you what the situation is, we need to, that will have to be accepted at town meeting for us to send the money, one way or the other, to the public access nonprofit.
Okay, I move that we approve whatever Charlie just said.
Okay, I second it.
So you make a motion to recommend as printed?
Let's print it.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, E1's been recommended. E2, for a sum of money.
Recommendation at town meeting.
Okay,
No?
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna need the article to move the money that we put into the regular revolving account anyways, right?
I remind you, I should do that at the special. I think I've got something at the special.
Do you?
I'll check.
All right, I didn't see it in the special.
Okay.
Is there anything
So
important?
pass
you-
over for now.
so,
Well,
seeing that we got through those articles, would you rather us do the special first? Do you want the special?
No,
No? Okay. So Article 1A is the amount of money from some chapter that we found out at a later date, so we should probably pass over that one for right now.
Why don't you just go through and we'll hold anything we want to discuss, okay? Because we've already looked at a lot of these.
Well, we can't recommend A1 right now, because we don't know what the
No,
amount is.
but we're not gonna hold it because we're just gonna wait and see if something happens by town meeting.
well, it'll be recommendation at town meeting.
Yeah. That, when I say hold, I don't mean, well, I'm just saying, we won't put our recommendation in for Charlie tonight. So Article 2 is $150,000 for the maintenance.
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Article 3A,
I move we approve.
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Article 4A,
I move we approve.
Second.
any further
Wait a second now. One of these is new, Charlie.
5A
Is
is
it
new.
A5?
Yeah, it's
A5 is new.
A5 is new, but
Oh,
A4.
so hold on. All those in favor of A4 as printed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. A5. This is the South Shore Community
Yes.
Action Council.
And that's, the board, they met with the board of selectmen maybe a month and a half ago. The board decided they would put an article on for them rather than do it by citizens petition.
Is the Board of Selectmen recommending it?
Yes, I mean, they're the ones who wanted it, they themselves put it on.
Is it in,
What do these people do?
Help people with
There's a
fuel
variety,
assistance and stuff like
things
that?
like that, yeah.
Pardon?
Fuel, like low income type things, like programs, I think.
So fuel assistance.
Fuel
you said?
assistance, yeah, I was reading an article just the other day about South Shore Community
Oh,
Action
okay.
Council in Plymouth, I think.
So would that take away the responsibility from the Council on Aging for those?
No,
programs?
they still work with the Council on Aging. So they do fuel assistance, weatherization, burner repair replacement, transportation assistance, CDL driver training, early education, hunger programs, financial stability program, consumer services, you know.
Okay.
and
So,
they're on the capital plan?
well, they're on
Oh,
the
they're-
list.
They're
They're
on
on
the
the
list.
list.
They're on your
We
list.
did not make recommendations on the lower articles.
But they're
because-
fitting within your.
No,
bottom line.
They
Well,
will fit within,
They will fit
yes,
with the.
with the 20,000, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to recommend it's printed?
I recommend as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Okay. Article A6 is to see if the town will vote to transfer, raise and appropriate, transfer from available sum of $500,000 to pay for additional costs of repairing, repainting, renovating the water department, the water tower, in addition to the $1.1 million from Article 18 of the annual town meeting of May 14th, 2012. Yes, Peg?
Charlie, just to hedge our bet, should we have wording in there to cover bonding?
They have said that they have sufficient money in their various funds to cover the additional money. We have authorized previously bonding for,
1.1.
yes,
1.1, right.
I think it was $700,000
$700,000.
of the
How
1.1.
much?
700,000 was on it. But the additional money they're looking for, they've said, we have sufficient money in our reserve funds, well, call them what you want, other funds, to cover the cost.
Okay, and is this open bond, bid yet?
Yes,
Yes.
they got the
So
bids
this is-
in, yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So those are real numbers.
Okay, is there a recommendation to recommend Article
And
A6?
all that extra money is coming from water department monies, it's not
Correct.
coming from, okay.
Is there a motion to recommend A6?
I recommend.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Article A7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $10,000 for the assessors FY17
Okay, I would
triennial.
recommend that.
Second,
So recommended as printed in the warrant.
yes.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Article A8. Okay, so Article A8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $335 to pay for an annual licensing fees to pay for copyrighted music recorded or live on town property and to establish an annual line item for this purpose.
Charlie, did somebody bring this up?
BMI, which is one of the firms that handles copyright for the various musicians and such, they've been sending us dunning letters.
Okay.
The board of selectmen held several conversations about this, eventually said, yes, Charlie, put the article on the warrant.
Okay.
So this is the first of many that we'll have to start paying now?
Well, there'll be an annual payment of about that size. There are, ASCAP is the other major one. I assume, I'm willing to bet that as soon as they know BMI is getting money from us, I'll start getting dunning letters from them at some point, and we'll start having to pay them. There is at least one other outfit that I'm aware of that's fairly small. We'll see whether they pick that up or not.
Okay. Is there a motion to
I
recommend
move
as
that we
printed?
recommend.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous. A9, this is to see for $300 to pay for patriotic
Oh,
and
I
holiday
move-
banners.
I move we approve that.
Second.
Okay, as printed.
As printed.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. To see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, or transfer from available funds the sum of $3,599 to purchase an HP printer model M725DN or
Charlie, how come
equivalent.
that's not going through, your budget?
Well, it's specific to the assessors. They're really the only ones who use it. So, and it's replacing a printer in their office that's from the previous century.
Okay. I would move that we approve it
As printed.
as printed.
Is there a
Second.
second? Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Article A15, to see if the town will vote to
Okay,
Raise
why is it?
2 cruisers.
why
Is that
is
what you
it
guys suggested?
More than it was, I mean, they go up, but wasn't it 35,000 per car last year?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, whether it was,
Here.
I don't know,
I
this
can
is
look
what we
real
were
quick. Depends
told,
on the steals.
they order off the bid list. So, that's what we were told was needed.
I'm sure that when we move it on the floor, we'll be moving the exact amount, I hope.
Well, I suspect that's the number that's gonna get moved.
Pardon?
I suspect that will be the number that gets moved is 80 grand. Unless, unless we have sheets from the police chief that say otherwise, that's the number. And I can ask Ted.
76,000 from last year.
Okay.
So it's up $2,000 per car.
If the board, if the finance committee wants, I can get price sheets from Ted to show how you get to 80,000.
Sure. Sure. I know Stu's gonna ask for that, because we asked Silver Lake to come in with their quote sheet, so we'll just say please. So, do you wanna make the recommendation and update the recommendation number afterwards, or do you wanna hold off on this?
I move that we recommend it as printed
A second.
and let the townspeople ask the cops about it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. It's 10:05 now. Why don't we go to 10:15? We should be able to get a few more done in that.
Okay,
That's what we'll
I
get
don't
printed.
recommend A18,
Well, hold on.
A16.
816, I have a figure.
Okay,
Is that why you're not recommending it? Because you don't have a
Yeah,
figure?
how much?
$1,800.
How come now, after 100 years, we suddenly have to put a phone into the,
I didn't put on the
Okay.
article.
I realize that,
hold on. Charlie.
I was in the elevator, at one point the panel was open, I noticed there was no phone in that elevator. I believe we need to have a phone in the elevator, despite that I don't think it's gonna get a lot of use. Maybe it's, we only set it up so it can dial to 911 and that's it, so we don't have people making long distance phone calls in the elevator or something.
Why does it cost $1,800?
Well,
The elevator goes up and down, you gotta have one of those stretchy wires. Okay, is there,
Is it a law that you have to have a?
I don't know. All I know is that there's a space there for it. I can find out.
And we did have one person get stuck in the elevator.
I
You
think
have
you're
a cell
supposed to
phone?
have a call system in an elevator.
I'm not.
Well,
just one.
when I walk around town hall, I
Yeah.
don't bring my phone with me,
Yeah.
so.
So how did we know the person got stabbed? If they were,
Everybody yells.
oh, they were yelling. Well, if you can hear them, then no. We need a phone if you can yell.
well, if you're the last person in here walking up and you take that elevator down and you get stuck,
Well, then you have your cell phone, because you're the last one in here.
Well, I'll tell you, I do not take the elevator after hours when there's no one else in the building.
You
okay,
know how many,
okay, hold on.
Mr. Chairman,
We shouldn't be discussing this without a motion. Do we have a motion?
no. But I have a statement.
Okay.
You know how many elevators I have been on in the past 6 months up and down at Beth Israel, and there's not a phone in one single one of them in a hospital.
I bet you they have a button that says call.
Yeah,
I'll look, I go this week and I'll look.
the red button,
We want a cell phone
Is
picture.
it red button?
should be.
Peg, take a cell phone picture and send it to us.
Do we have?
I don't know how to take a
Yeah, but it's so long, it just rings a bell. If there's nobody in the building, no one hears it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
There's a setup and that kind of,
So I'll just go buy a long stretchy cord and put it in there, and then we can take
I'll
the
have to
extra
put-
money and buy a scanner for the dog.
Huh? If you put one in there, I won't know how to use it anyway.
all right, Article A16. Is there a motion to recommend? Okay, I don't hear one. A17. $2,785 to purchase and a staff. Huh?
Purchase a staff?
Yeah, I think take and out of there, Charlie.
Pardon?
In Article A17, take the word and
Okay.
Yeah.
to purchase a staff
Okay.
laptop computer for the children's librarian, 2 desktop computers, and public use scanner. Is there a motion?
Well,
Yes, Peg.
why isn't this in the capital plan, and
So-
what would their recommendation be?
So I can answer that briefly because it's not listed under the capital plan.
It is.
It's listed under the capital plan?
Yep.
Okay.
And it
Valid
is in the
question.
capital plan. If you recall,
Long-term technology?
yes, it's long-term technology. A couple of years ago, they came in front of us and said they had to replace all the computers.
Yes.
We asked them to go on a program where they're replacing a few each year so that we didn't run into that again. That's what this article is for. They've chosen 3 computers to replace, and that's the money for it.
Does this have your recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we recommend this.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. A18, this is OPEB to see if, so we will, this is $35,000 for the post-employment benefits liability irrevocable trust fund.
I make that motion as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. A19, oh, this is up higher than, this isn't on your plan. This is $26,200.
That price changed. It's actually $22,000.
22,000?
Is it on your?
Right.
Is
And it is, you see it as 13,000, and then the next column over shows 9,000, because I'm getting some of the money from
Okay.
different articles.
Right here, so 22,000?
Thank you.
So 22,000.
22,000 is the total.
And is that what's gonna be printed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Right, John?
okay, make a motion,
I move that we approve 22,000.
Second.
It's for the school computers, we're making it
Okay,
22,000.
A19, Charlie.
Got it.
Okay, make a motion with the amendment as printed. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. A21, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $216,000 to purchase and configure a recycling truck and associated recycling receptacles and take any action thereon. So this would, does this total include the grant?
No, because this total does not include the big bins.
Oh, because it's
We
saying,
have found out that the truck doesn't require the big bins. You can use your old recycling bins.
okay,
And there is only enough money in the retained earnings, the recycling retained earnings, to afford the truck. We cannot at this time afford to buy the bins.
so should we just strike out the bins?
There was, talk at the capital planning meeting to just leave that wording in for the time being in case we found a way to fund them.
Okay,
But at this point, that money is just for the truck.
Can residents buy their own bins if they want?
Yes.
Okay, that was just.
And we do have enough money.
for the
We
truck.
are-
We
we're gonna-
For the
do
truck,
have
yes.
216,000.
Right, for the truck.
Okay. I move that we recommend $216,000 for the recycling truck and strike the recycling receptacles.
Is there a second?
With the recycling receptacles.
Because there's no money in there for 216. So, is there a second?
Unless you'd like to leave it in there in case money comes up somehow.
Well, that's
That's
the
what she was
point.
saying.
Yes.
Yeah, in case they could.
That's the point. We'll get to town meeting if
Okay.
the article, the motion will be worded correctly based on whether we have bins or not.
Okay,
Okay,
would you make a new motion as
yes.
recommended as printed? Is there a
Yes.
second?
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. 822. Charlie, this is to raise a sum of money to
And I don't
contract.
have it because I need to go out and get some quotes. Basically, our insurance policies have not been reviewed since I've been here, so that's more than 20 years ago. If you're doing it right, you need to have an independent person, not one of our current agents or firms looking at the policies. In addition to that, we really have not done any competitive bidding during that time.
Okay.
Workers' comp is fairly easy, we've been able to do that because it's straightforward, everybody has to follow the same limits. Differences are on loss control programs and things like that. But we're now spending somewhere in the order of $250,000 a year on general liability insurance, workers' comp and such. We've got to have someone take a look at the whole thing and help me go out to bid next winter.
Is it there a place at the Mass Municipal Association that does that, Charlie?
No. There's the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, which would be one of the firms that would send proposals in. But they're not, but I need somebody else who isn't gonna send a proposal in to take a look at the policies.
Okay.
So I don't have a number for you,
So let's
so
skip
just
that
made
one.
recommendation at
Yeah,
town
I
meetings.
guess, you know, a lot for me would be how much this costs.
Yeah, I understand that, I'm gonna be getting quotes, I hope soon.
Okay, let's skip this one for now. A23, $5,000 to purchase and install a new furnace for the town hall.
I recommend that as printed.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Line 26, see if the town will vote the sum
I
of
moved
$9,800
$9,800 is printed.
to replace the windows in the municipal and school building, water department building. Was there a second?
Where is the?
That's
A26, it's the old police station
Right.
building.
Where is it?
It's
in the-
split, you see it as $4,900 on the top part,
Oh,
and $4,900 under the under the enterprise fund, the water is paying half of it.
oh, okay. Alright, second. Somebody moved it, right?
Yep. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. $5,000 to repair the aerial lift. It's proposed by
The
the,
building department,
yep,
okay.
827, $5,000. It's recommended by the capital planning committee.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to recommend as printed?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. 26, $2,620 to purchase an iPad and associated software for the municipal and school building committee. I believe he did a presentation to you guys on this. I was not at that meeting.
Yeah, you made a really compelling case. You
Yeah, I
put
would move the
together a nice-
$2,620.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. 29 is $16,000 to seal coat, fill cracks, stripe parking lots of the town buildings. Yes, Peg?
That's
Sandy,
changed.
Yeah, it's
as
down
a
at
member
town.
of the capital planning committee, are you on, you're not on the capital planning committee
Stewards.
anymore, right? Okay. Would you put a hold on anything that you're not recommending that comes before us on this list?
We didn't not recommend anything, we just put them in priority order. There was nothing on here that, there were some articles that were taken off, if you remember.
Pardon?
There was a list of articles that you showed me earlier that were taken off,
Yes.
so those aren't in this list.
Right.
So you didn't recommend those items, correct?
We didn't, yeah, but that's not just the reason why they were taken off, the department has decided to pull them, but
Okay.
on the seal coat one,
Yes.
the price has changed, and
Okay.
it's only going to be for the town hall parking lot.
Town hall
So-
parking lot.
It would be $9,200 to, they blow out the cracks and seal them, and then they seal coat and paint stripes.
So do we need to do this because the church is doing this and this is our 50% of the parking lot?
No, we handle the parking
Yeah,
lot.
we do the whole thing.
Okay. So is there a motion to recommend it, the
I
new
move-
wording and new
I
amount
move 9,200 to, as printed.
to the town hall?
For the town hall. Yeah,
So, okay. Is there a second?
Oh, the town hall, okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
8:30, see if some, to paint the bay ceilings in the fire station. Do we have an amount on that?
yeah.
$9,500.
And this was at the bottom of your list?
Right,
But you recommended it?
yes. It is a disgrace. The plaster is starting to fall down. They're talking about sheet rocking and painting.
Okay.
I think it's
I would move the 9,500 to,
the fire
paint the
station.
bay ceilings in the fire station. Is it too limiting just to put paint, Charlie, if they plan to sheet rock?
Pardon me?
How about paint and repair?
Yeah, I think that
Paint
sounds
repair.
better
Okay.
for the price.
Is
Yeah,
that,
paint and
yeah.
repair, because maybe they have to do some repairs.
Then
Well,
price says repair and paint then, put doing it
okay,
that
add
way.
the words repair, okay.
Well, you could always paint it and then have to know that you have
Right.
to repair it afterwards.
That's- Most people would expect us to do it in that order.
Well, Ed only says to paint,
Yeah, Charlie's gonna update it to say repair and paint.
okay.
Is there a motion to accept that wording?
I move.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is $6,350 to replace the carpet of the Halifax Highway barn,
What is the highway bar?
the
Actually,
building behind you. Is that an update?
It's not the one with the cows, don't worry.
all right. That price was actually, it says replace carpet.
Yeah,
And Jerry actually, it was suggested to him and then he had gone to putting down that epoxy paint because it was easier to mop and clean.
okay, so
And so,
update the wording then? To replace the flooring?
yeah,
Replace the
Flooring.
flooring? Okay, so $6,350 to replace the flooring in the Halifax Highway barn.
I move that we approve that.
Was there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye? It's unanimous. 832, see if the town will vote $5,000 to replace and repair radios pages at the Halifax Fire Department. This is one of those annual items and it's listed on the capital plan. Is there a recommendation to recommend as, is there a motion to recommend as printed?
I move that we recommend this.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
It's unanimous. It is now 10:20. Is there any other item that we know that we would like to see? Our recommendation, probably the fire truck.
that's 838.
It's 838. So you guys have listed 155,000. I'm assuming
Which
that's a
is the
lease.
first of a 5-year lease payment. It's a lease to buy payment, so at the end of the 5 years, we would own it. There'd be no additional payment after the five years.
So this, so how do we update the
Wait a
amount
minute,
to say 155?
this is to,
This is the lease to purchase. The,
yes, but where are we gonna get $765,000?
so it's a 5-year lease.
I don't care.
So every year, we're going to come up with $155,000 for 5 years.
Okay, now I know where I'm gonna fund the raises. I do not recommend this.
Okay. Is there a, so, is there a
Yeah.
motion, hold on. Is there a motion to recommend some change of wording here?
Could I say something?
Yes, Peg.
Okay, this is the first year I've seen this on the
This is
capital
not, this
plan.
isn't the first year you've seen it. This is the fire engine that they've been talking about replacing for a long time.
I have very carefully looked at the capital plan, and this has not been on the capital plan prior to this year.
Engine 1 was on for last year?
Yeah.
Engine 1 was on for last year.
Maybe engine 1 was, which is a wreck, but not a new engine.
Well,
That's replacing that
This
engine.
would replace engine 1. And this would, and I wish the fire chief were here, but this vehicle it has an aerial lift. It would it would replace both
I
engine
know,
one
he came in and made a
Right.
presentation to us.
and the ladder. Engine one would then go as like a reserve, it would be a backup, but, this would be the replacement for both. And you saw the presentation and the differences that, you know, the
I'm not
improvements.
impressed.
Okay,
I'm not gonna move it.
okay. So is there a wording that would allow the taxpayers to see that it's $155,000 for the first year and each additional year that we could put in here?
Well, I think right now your recommendation simply says that. Recommend a lease purchase of 5 years with a first year payment of $155,000.
Okay, so at the bottom, to determine this appropriation shall be raised by borrowing or through a lease purchase agreement of 5 years at 150, so at 5 years,
And presumably if this passes, we're
100
locked into that for the 5 years.
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, now, is it coming from raise and appropriate,
No.
Sandy? Is it coming from transfer from available funds?
Coming,
Yes,
What available fund?
free cash.
Okay, that's where I would get the raise.
okay. Is there a motion to recommend, to see if the town will vote to raise, inappropriate, or transfer from available funds the sum of $760,000 to purchase an aerial platform truck for the fire department, to determine whether this appropriation shall be raised through borrowing or through a 5-year lease purchase program at $155,000 per year. So I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Opposed?
Abstain?
Are you abstaining?
No, I voted yes.
Oh, okay, yes.
So 4 to 1.
I just
4,
wanna go to
1,
bed now.
0. Okay,
I gotta go to bed.
that's the major one, correct?
Yeah. Can we go home now?
Okay, is there a motion? Is there a
Motion to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?